What is going on, everybody? It is episode 266 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name's Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I apologize that we didn't inform you Hannah Claire would be on tomorrow, not today.
It's the holiday
season. But today, we have two guests in studio.
Main guests.
Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Chris Bertman. I'm a writer for Timcast. Shout out to Timcast News.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good?
Good.
Yeah, dude.
Right.
Audio sounding good? Everything sounding good over there?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And in this corner, weighing in at, actually, I don't know how much you weigh. Is that
I
weird?
think I'm
That's
like
triggering.
160
That's triggering.
Last I checked, but it could be more than
It's all
that.
muscle.
Probably more than that now. I don't know.
Introduce
Yeah,
yourself.
Carter Banks here. Thanks for having me on again.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
I wanted today to be kind of low-key because we're kind of alone here.
Yeah.
It's very much like a horror movie. Like we're just alone at the office. There's nobody here. It's kind of
empty
unnerving.
mansion, literally.
It is. Like it's a bit unnerving. So we're going to have some fun, some stuff to talk about today. So Amber Heard has officially settled her defamation lawsuit against Johnny Depp, which is weird because I thought this was settled a while ago. I know she was appealing, but she's getting off easy in this respect. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Henry Cavill. Now that he is out, we are still getting Ta-Nehisi Coates and J.J. Abrams' Black Superman movie. Yes, they're still going forward with that. Believe it or not. Is that insane? I think it is. We are also going to talk about Avatar.
It's racist.
Of course. Yeah, like I was just waiting for that to happen. And also, J.K. Rowling is once again triggering people because she's a one-trick pony now. She has exactly one move, and she's really good at it. She's triggering members of the trans community, as she's wont to do on any day that ends in Y. So we got that, and an unsuspecting presidential candidate has thrown his hat in the ring to take on Kanye West, Kamala Harris, assuming that Joe Biden doesn't run a second time, and Donald Trump in his trading card. So we will talk about who that special candidate is at the end. And before we get started, I have fulfilled my obligation to my Secret Santa. See?
There it is.
I now get to turn it backwards because I refuse to give...
ugliest Marvel hat in existence.
Everyone takes screenshots now.
Take screenshots, clip him.
It's a beautiful hat. I don't really like Marvel, and I'm not going to give Caper 2X more credit than he deserves.
Clip that so he says, I really like Marvel.
So there we go. The hat is now backwards. We are good.
Still has a Marvel logo there.
Yeah, but not as obvious. So, and my glasses are still crooked. So, I'll fix it as we go.
They were looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Let's go. Okay, wait. Mary, talk. I gotta fix
okay, all right. He's adjusting.
That good? Well, whatever. I give up, guys. We're going for it. So, if you guys are ready, we will just get right into it. Now I feel all uncomfortable because my hat's all weird now.
No,
Mary.
your hat looks fine.
Okay.
I think we're ready to go.
All right.
Ready?
Ready? All right. So, believe it or not, guys, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp is still in the news. It was like July when this started ages ago, but the verdict came in like July or August, right?
This is one of those things where it's all we ever talk about for a few months, and then it completely dropped off of the face of the planet. And she was looking for an appeal for a bunch of different reasons. One was that one juror had incorrect information. The other was that she felt some of her evidence was excluded. But she just agreed to a settlement where not Amber Heard herself, but her insurance company will be paying out $1 million to Johnny Depp, rather than the originally agreed upon $8 million.
I'm going to read her statement here. So this is what she posted on her Instagram page. She says, or was this Twitter? Was it Twitter?
She posted it to Instagram, where only people she follows can comment.
So it says, after a great deal of deliberation, I have made a very difficult decision to settle the defamation case brought against me by my ex-husband in Virginia. It's important for me to say that I never chose this. I defended my truth. Oh, God.
My truth, a.k.a. my lies.
That is red flag number one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to continue. So it says, I defended my truth, and in doing so, my life as I knew it was destroyed. The vilification I have faced on social media is an amplified version of the ways in which women are re-victimized when they come forward. Now I finally have an opportunity to emancipate myself from something I attempted to leave over 6 years ago, and on terms I can agree to. I have made no admission. This is not an act of concession. There are no restrictions or gags with respect to my voice moving forward.
So that particular part of the statement that said that she has no gag order, she is allowed to talk about this case and voice her opinions about it. There's no reason that she could be brought back to trial for defamation for talking about her relationship with Johnny Depp again.
Is that true?
So someone tweeted, I don't know if this exposes her because the settlement doesn't require a gag order, and that just means she can make a profit out of writing a book or doing a podcast or a documentary about it to spread more lies.
I do want to address there's a good comment here in the chat from Coyote Watcher. Says she is right that she was made into a cartoon villain. Nobody is called good or all bad. I think they mean all good or all bad. I don't disagree that in this case it became a cartoonish symbol of like toxic femininity in a lot of ways, but I don't agree that she wasn't guilty. All you have to listen to the clip is of her like vilifying and making fun of Johnny Depp for like not wanting to be punched and hit by a woman.
I didn't punch you. I hit you.
Like that. Like I'm sorry, but that turns you into a bit of a cartoonish villain in a way. But I do believe that it got overblown, and what we forgot is that most of this was just a relationship of two people that were awful for one another, bringing out the worst aspects of their personalities. The other thing I think is really funny is this: didn't Johnny Depp get ordered to pay $2 million to her? So does she come out of this $1 million ahead?
That I wanted answers about.
Holy crap! Like,
I don't know. Most people aren't talking about it, so I assume that in the settlement, we don't have the documents, but like in the settlement, it says that he doesn't have to pay out his part if she gets to reduce hers.
Okay, all right.
Likely, that's what I'm thinking.
That makes more. I mean,
but it would be absolutely hilarious.
Women always come out ahead, no matter what.
If she still won, but I think more than she's paying in just cold hard cash, she's paid in her reputation and her career going forward more than anything.
Yep.
But a lot of people are saying this seems unjust, and if Amber were a man, then she would be expected to pay every penny.
Or at the very least, if he got a reduced settlement, I feel like there would be more press talking about how he was getting off easy, and I'm not seeing a lot, or how, if this was reversed and he was the one who got a reduced settlement, I feel like places like the AV Club, which we're going to talk a little bit about this round table that they had, because I think there's some interesting points that also highlight their own bias as being part of the California Hollywood media machine. I feel like they would be holding him more to account if this was his problem, that he had gotten a reduced settlement.
We also have a statement from Johnny Depp's lawyers, Camille Vasquez and Benjamin Chu. They said, "We're pleased to formally close the door on this painful chapter for Mr. Depp, who made clear throughout this process his intent to bring the truth to light. This was never about the money. The jury's unanimous decision and the judgment in his favor against Miss Heard remain fully in place, and the payment of $1 million, which Mr. Depp is pledging and will donate to charities," kind of throwing shade at Amber Heard right now because she pledged $7 million and never donated even half of it. Reinforces Miss Heard's acknowledgement of the conclusion of the legal system's rigorous pursuit for justice.
I mean, I don't think it was never about the money for Johnny Depp anyways. He's got plenty of money. This was about clearing his name, or at least getting him to the point where he's employable by Hollywood again, which is true because Jerry Bruckheimer recently said he would love to work with Johnny Depp again on the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. I mean, I don't know. Do you guys have any interest whatsoever in another Pirates of the Caribbean movie? Does that interest anybody here?
In the interest of social media drama,
well,
maybe.
we like it for work, but is there
normal
genuine
people? Do they care?
Well, I think more than anything, what it does is it allows him to be able to hold his head high while he plays Captain Jack Sparrow for kids at kids' hospitals.
The thing I dislike is him being so blatantly screwed over by Disney without a thought, and then being brought back is sort of more of a humiliation and a concession. Yeah. I think that he has too much dignity at this point to go back to them with a new deal.
Disney will just say, look, it's just business.
Well, he could probably sue for damages if he lost this and was found some kind of, or if he was exonerated, and she somehow, if he didn't fight this, then, the damages would be the potential earnings that he would have had doing more Pirates of the Caribbean, hypothetically, even if he didn't do it.
And he had to fight it in the, in honor of his name, right? So,
Exactly.
so there was a round table that got posted to AV Club between three people on staff. So it's Hattie Lindert, William Hughes, and Gabrielle Sanchez. And I just thought there were some really interesting takes because they're very clearly on one side of the aisle on this one. And I thought it would be interesting to see a little bit of what they were talking about. I specifically want to talk about this part from William Hughes. He says, in a weird way, they're talking about the entirety of the case. They were looking back on Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard as a retrospective. Why are we still talking about it at the end of 2022 as the year's coming to an end? So it says, in a weird way, it's sort of a grassroots movement. This always would have been a story. We've been covering the abuse allegations against Depp for years. Again, by the way, that was very cleverly placed in there to inspire doubt. It says, but it became one of the defining stories of the year because of the way people continually amplified each other on social media, egging each other on and watching those follower counts tick up. There was an incentive to make the story bigger and bigger that eventually caused it to dominate all of the conversations for months. All powered, as you note, Gabrielle, by the wellspring of misogyny buried deep within our culture. I was with him a little bit up until the wellspring of misogyny part, which just made me want to puke.
I'm not on principle against overanalyzing the Depp versus Heard trial, and I did it myself. What it actually showed wasn't a wellspring of misogyny in our culture. I think it showed that Amber Heard and Johnny Depp became these proxies for this continuing battle of the sexes vibe that we're living in, where there's a lot of resentment against men from women. There's a lot of resentment against women from men for some justified and some non-justified reasons, but we can't have a mature conversation about it because celebrities dominate it or social media memes dominate it. And like, really, at the end of the day, it's better to make fun of a situation than try to make sense of it.
It's not like this is anything new. Like 90% of the content, okay, not 90%, a lot of the content on TikTok and Instagram are memes that kind of play on the tropes of men versus women, and what do men have it better with? What do women have it better with?
I wonder how Amber Heard would do as a guest on Fresh and Fit.
That would be really interesting to just like that. Like,
I wonder what their take on this in this trial was. Also, like at the time,
unbridled misogyny.
I'm not a huge fan of Fresh and Fit. Like, I don't keep up with their takes on things, but I'd like to know what they think.
She would call it unbridled misogyny, I have no doubt. Like, that would be a culture shock for her, I think. Like, unless
people aren't kissing my ass, like, that's crazy.
So and then also I love that there's kind of a little bit of a lack of understanding from some of these people. So Gabrielle says, what struck me about the case as well was the number of women who were openly supporting Depp. Well, maybe that should tell you something.
Right.
I don't know. And taking every chance they could to criticize and humiliate Heard. Mm-hmm. See, that goes headlong with the narrative that women all like in the Hollywood narrative that they all get along and that they need to empower one another, which always comes across fake to me. Mm-hmm. Like anytime I see a picture of like those like we talked about Rings of Power when they posted the picture of like all the women in the photo shoot from the cover of Vogue or whatever it was. Like, I'm looking at that picture and all I can think of is like I can just hear the fake compliments.
Yeah, like Hollywood represents the exact opposite of what could be genuinely described as girl power or women's solidarity. But as for the women who were supporting Johnny Depp, a lot of them seem to be supporting him because they like kind of have this weird parasocial like I wish that Johnny Depp would date me thing more than looking at the facts and thinking that he should be exonerated because that is what is just, And then a lot of dudes I saw were like throwing support at Johnny Depp and then throwing shade at Amber Heard because, I don't know, they had an issue with like some past ex who lied about them. And that's not really talking about Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard and about defamation. That's talking about like your own baggage.
And then there's this one. It says, well, it's the whole myth of the perfect victim, right? If America's going to believe a woman saying a man abused her, she's got to be impossibly, unfairly impeccable. It's pretty clear from the testimony this was an unhealthy and dysfunctional relationship between two people who almost certainly shouldn't have been in each other's lives. You got me on the second part. You lost me on the first part. Look, she admitted to hitting him and making fun of him for not wanting to be hit. There is a long gap societally between perfect victim and making fun of someone because you don't want to they don't want to be abused by you.
Have you noticed that she's kind of dressed like Kim Jong-un in that picture?
I'm here for it.
I kind of love it.
There's a great.
That was probably a personal choice by the attorney. Like, let's make you look like.
I thought they were supposed to wear
Jong-un.
blue in court because blue inspires truthfulness or something like that.
I think she tried to look a little bit drab.
Yeah,
Because if you're hot, then I'm sure the lawyers tell you to look
less
more
I think
ordinary.
it backfired
and-
because, like, to me, it just. I think of her shitting on his bed.
Yeah.
Dressed like that for some reason. It just makes her look more like she would do that.
I think it's even more psychotic that she would plant her own dog's poop in his bed.
Yeah.
Like,
Like
both
that
of
she
them.
would pick it up
and
then put
playing
it
the
in
dog.
the bed.
Was
That was the argument she made?
Well, I think it was that like the dog ate weed edibles and then shit the bed. I don't know what the real story was. I think we'll never know, but
The point is
she denied
though,
it.
that there's a large gap here between the perfect victim, and I don't relish anyone kind of being dragged in public, but it's the type of thing where it wears your patience. You're like, how much leeway do you give a person? I thought we
Right.
were pretty fair through most of it, is saying like, look, there's a lot of hyperbole on both sides.
No one's asking for a perfect victim, but they're looking for
One that doesn't
someone
hit-
who
yeah.
genuinely is a victim.
Yes, exactly.
It seemed like she was, getting at him for not being toxically masculine when she's like, oh, you don't want to be hit? Thought that's what you were supposed to be doing.
Well, no, that and like she like wouldn't let him like remember the shoes, like taking off his shoes after work thing.
Right. She had this weird psychological ritual where when he would get back from work, like filming all day, she would have to be the one that takes off his shoes and gives him a glass of wine. And there was this one time he recalled that he took off his shoes before she did.
And she got very upset.
And then she came in the room and she was very upset and they got into a fight about it. Like,
I wish I could live a day in Johnny Depp's
that she wanted
past
to like
shoes.
create this Pavlovian ritual where he was dependent on her.
Yeah.
Like,
in a
oh, how am
way.
I going to get my shoes off to go to bed without Amber Heard
Without Amber. Yeah.
and my wine?
Do you think it's fair?
She was probably dosing his wine.
The funny thing is, I
Maybe.
think there is a discussion there, like a very reasonable discussion that could be had about a culture where you monetize people's misery. But the thing is, we talked about this a lot. They monetize their own misery. They were their own clown show through most of this. Like, if you put this into the public sphere, you can't be upset at the public for latching onto it, finding a certain level of fascination, and then monetizing it to their own extent. And that goes with all aspects of pop culture. 90% of like my feed on Instagram now is people like imitating the dance from Wednesday Addams. Everyone finds their own way of monetizing what's going on in culture right now. It's just that the one they were using just happens to be one that's awful and part of a society where we're still having this discussion about who's the bigger victim, men or women. What do women suffer from that men don't? What do men suffer from that women don't? Mm-hmm. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, especially if you're only telling the facts. Yes, you will have your spin and your bias, but that is on the viewers. And that's, we have to hold ourselves accountable that when you watch a channel and you see them presenting one side of the argument, you can understand, like, look, you take this, it's like infotainment, right? Like, it's partially information, it's partially hyperbole because people play to an audience, and you have to figure out as a viewer where the truth is and where you're being entertained. And I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's a lot to ask of us as individuals to be able to watch things and not expect to be spoon-fed. Isn't that what we want? We don't want to be spoon-fed information like we're children. We want to be treated like adults. Like, it's our jobs as adults to be able to suss that out and figure out where truth ends and entertainment begins. I don't think that's an unfair discussion.
There were so many people who basically made their careers off of talking about this trial. And by the end of it, when we really talked about the verdict, the next day it was like, okay, that happened. It was always a situation that was inherently private, that was made public by force, and then all of the people who maybe felt strongly about Johnny Depp's vindication, they really felt strongly about the vindication of men in general who have been screwed over by Me Too, for instance, or like the reverberations from that movement. They didn't feel all that strongly, I think, about Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, most of them, like, it seemed like the women cared about Johnny Depp, men cared about what it meant for men.
Like, it's all symbolic, really.
Yeah, like, the women were like, like their weird parasocial relationship where they think that he's going to choose them. To be fair...
Because they kept giving him gifts outside of the courthouse.
It's like a Ted
and
Bundy
scenario? I mean, literally, yes.
Oh, yeah, they bring that up in this round.
Hybristophilia, is that what it's called?
Hybristophilia, yeah. Like, they talk about in this where they mention, like, women are like, held to like there's like women are held to a different standard society, and then they reference true crime, because true crime seems to focus a lot these days on female killers, but that's because the rest of pop culture doesn't.
Right.
Like, it's filling a market value right now. Like, if you watch an episode of a TV show, very rarely do you see female killers because it is statistically rare. So there's automatically fascination
right. There's even
to cover
a show
something
that's called like Women Who Kill.
Yeah,
Like,
and
it's not men who kill.
It's not because it's
just given.
Yeah, it's not misogynistic. It's filling a market.
Right.
It's fulfilling a need in the market that people have a fascination with that. Just like there's a market for Dahmer, and there's a market for all these other things. There's a market for Casey Anthony and creepy crap like that.
I think that there was definitely an aspect to the Depp trial, though, that was like, I would never treat you like Amber treated you, King.
I love this thing. Like that. Like
I
right
just
now,
can't deal with the simping when it comes from the men or the women. Just stop. Have some dignity.
Right now, like if you're about to get into a relationship and you're looking to get married, you have to say like high and low end. Will you treat me better or worse than Amber Heard treated Johnny Depp? I need it on a scale. And then she's like, on the scale of like, treat me like a king to crap in my bed and punch me in the face and call me a whiner, what are you going to do?
Right. On a scale of like poop in my bed to take off my boots and give me wine.
Yeah, I mean, there are good parts of the relationship too, I guess.
I'm sure the sex was fantastic. Like you're not that nuts and not.
Oh my gosh, don't be vulgar.
Maybe pre-shit. Because I couldn't get that.
I'm guessing it never. My hope would be that it never happened after that. That he's like, well, I'm officially done. I just have to find a way to make my exit now. Like,
let's go to Super
Let's
Chats.
do it.
Potatoes for Seamus said, Rhett, alter ego of Brett when the Marvel hat is on.
Look,
Rhett, Marvel shill extraordinaire.
The only Rhett, there's a country singer named Rhett something.
Thomas Rhett?
Thomas, it's a last name, right? Not a first name.
I think
Thomas
there's one.
I only know Rhett and Link. Yeah. From
yes,
what are they called again?
I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
They're just called Rhett and Link.
I think so.
But yeah, like the only one I can think of is Thomas Rhett.
Yeah.
I don't know any Rhetts. It does sound like it's like I was made fun of like anyone named Brent. They were just going to name them Brett, but they sneezed and then they put it on the birth certificate as Brent. That was how that name came around. Oops, it's what happens.
I need to stop watching YouTube. Said every part of my obese woman story is 100% facts.
Who is the woman?
This is a continuation of a story from yesterday, but
But who is the woman in the news today? The one who passed away?
Dahmer. I just saw this
in the chat.
Yeah, that was good.
Who is the person who died? The 37-year-old who died today. The obese. She was like on a TV show.
I have no idea. Sorry.
Is she Persian?
They were mentioning it in the chat today. I saw it, but I was like, we don't cover stuff like that because I'm not going to cover death in that way. It's rude. But somebody like that, somebody passed away.
Big Dave sent us 99 cents without a message.
That is because Big Dave is the strong silent type.
Yes. I just realized what you said, and then we're going to talk about this death that happened in an Avatar 2 screening later.
Even that's like, yeah, but that's not the hook of that story.
Unknown said, no derp, we hurt. Is Johnny Depp gone forever?
He's left just for Brett Cooper. He really? Cheating on me with another Brett, and frankly, I'm offended.
Johnny Depp said that he was banned from our chat.
What?
That's what he said yesterday.
That's what the consensus
Or he said that
seems to
YouTube wouldn't let him send chats.
Well, we didn't ban you.
Yeah, I told him that, but I hope he knows. Caper2X said, a nice hat, Dasovic. You finally come to the light. I'm wearing my Make Mine Marvel t-shirt for you. Carter, Chris, welcome and Merry Christmas. Don't worry, Goody. Bad App will return to you from Cute Brett one day.
Let me get this straight. She gets to be cute, Brett. What does that make me?
How do you know it's not you?
Does that make me ugly, Brett?
How do you know it's not you? They're talking about how you're a snack in the chat.
Well,
did you see that?
With 2 C's, I'm sure.
What does that mean?
I wish I knew.
2 C's.
We're moving on, guys.
Yeah.
We're moving on. We're moving on from the snack
It's
talk.
getting kind of gay.
It's getting just a tiny bit. All right, guys.
What's wrong with
So,
that?
with all of the news coming out of DC, the loss of Henry Cavill, we know how much society loves that. You take a guy who loves playing Superman, a guy who loves fans, who loves everything to do with making fans happy, and you replace him with Jar Jar Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates, who just hates America. It seems like a recipe for success, does it not, ladies and gentlemen? So this is an article from Bounding Into Comics. It says, reports suggest that Warner Brothers is still developing J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Superman movie with Henry Cavill gone. I want to correct something that I made a point on originally that I completely forgot about. It slipped my mind when we were talking about this originally. They're not doing Calvin Ellis Superman. They're just race swapping Clark Kent.
Yes.
That's so much worse.
What I know
It's so much more pandery.
Yeah, so like Henry Cavill cut from The Flash, cut from future projects for now, at least.
Yes.
And Variety said James Gunn's script will focus on the character's life as a cub reporter in the fictional city of Metropolis. Audiences will encounter him meeting key characters like Lois Lane, insiders added. Additionally, Variety sources said that the new Gunn project will not replace the previously announced J.J. Abrams' Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman. So whether we get a movie that is about...
They're both bad ideas.
Yes, whether we get one about journalist Clark Kent, played by a white actor, or we get a movie about some version of Superman who is not Clark Kent but happens to be black for no reason, we're still not really seeing Superman return to the big screen.
In the chat, Serge X says Superman Asian now. Well, that's already been done because what's his name? Dean Cain is part Asian. Yes, he is.
Really?
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's technically already been done. Adventures of Superman and Lois.
I didn't know he was Superman either.
Yes, he was.
And I didn't know Ta-Nehisi Coates was doing a Superman thing. Where have I been?
You know who Ta-Nehisi Coates is. If you guys don't know who Ta-Nehisi Coates is, he's just awful.
Can you tell me where you get the idea that he's anti-patriotism?
Well, he has the famous quote after 9/11 where he refers to the 9/11 first responders as less than human.
What?
He
nice
says
guy.
they weren't.
When was this?
How much do you know about this, Mary?
2000 and when
I saw allusions to it, but no one ever said the quote.
Oh, yeah.
What's
He's
the quote?
just,
2000. It was when he was promoting his first book, right? So it would've
Something
been
like that.
So yeah, he says because he was living in New York at the time, and he doesn't exactly say that. He says that they were less than human to me. In his characterization, because a lot of it is talking about look at America worrying about America problems, and there was a lot of people at that time that were talking about that there was a certain amount of anti-Muslim backlash in New York City post 9/11 because the media thanks in no part
How
to the
are
media.
the first responders responsible for that?
But he's
Did
also
he really say that?
Yes, he did.
I'm looking for the quote
Look
right
for the-
now,
He
actually.
but he also wrote an extremely anti-American run of Captain America, which is hilarious to give a guy who was it's one of the reasons people hate Marvel so much. Hate Marvel Comics, not Marvel movies. Marvel Comics have been awful for years. Though oddly enough, DC ended up being worse. DC used to be better.
Wasn't Ta-Nehisi Coates? Didn't he write the one where Jordan Peterson was Red Skull?
I don't know if that was his run. I think he might have been on that one. Yeah, the Jordan Peterson is Red, or it's Red Skull who has his own 12 rules.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's
I'm getting tired of these villains being written as replicas of Jordan Peterson who are nothing like Jordan Peterson.
Stop making me like the villains.
You really tried it, Olivia Wilde.
Also, they should rerun that comic and redo
Mm-hmm.
it with Jordan Peterson's his two-tone suit that he's been wearing with the red and the maroon and blue suit. That feels like a villain outfit to me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's leaning into. Hail Lobster, as him and Michaela would say.
So far, what do we know about this Black Superman movie other than that he's black and that is incredibly boring?
He's already said in past interviews that it will discuss, because remember they have to make the comparison that Superman is an alien. I was like, that's not even really a fair comparison because he's not technically, and he's an immigrant from Krypton, I guess. But in modern Hollywood, we know that Avatar 2 will be far better at showing colonial undertones and not being as on the nose as I'm sure Ta-Nehisi Coates and J.J. Abrams.
Quote, by the way.
J.J. Abrams isn't exactly known for his subtlety.
Okay, so the Ta-Nehisi Coates
the
quote.
Ta-Nehisi quotes.
Quotes.
Right here. They were not human to me. Coates. wrote in his book Between the World and Me about the emergency responders who rushed into the World Trade Center on 9/11. Black, white, or whatever, they were menaces of nature. They were fire. They were the fire, the comet, the storm, which could, with no justification, shatter my body. That's what he said.
I don't really get the context.
I don't really either get it either.
That quote.
Yeah.
What a quote.
So it says there's little again. There's again little in the way of updates to report about his progress after nearly another full year has passed. The best thing we can say going forward is the same trade outlets that we're talking about Ta-Nehisi Coates that this movie is still going forward. We're also saying that Henry Cavill is going to have an uplifting Superman movie. So maybe they're wrong about both. We can only hope that they're wrong about both. But it speaks to the fact that, look, I don't disagree, and I do believe that there's a certain amount of denial that the DCEU needed to be rebooted. I'm just really upset about Henry Cavill because he's one that would have...
Why does it need to be this way, at least? Why do we need to go to the route of race swapping?
The Ta-Nehisi Coates and J.J. Abrams story would be an Elseworld story. It wouldn't be DC
I understand
canon.
that, but the whole point behind what David Zaslav and the fans wanted was for this universe to be less confusing. There shouldn't be 4 Batmans running around or 3 Supermans running around. It's confusing and it doesn't sell. And they know what people want. The Rock went on Twitter in that video saying Henry Cavill is our generation's Superman. He's the most important one to play Superman.
He was totally using him.
And then this is, well, of course he was using him, but they know to use him because they know that people want Henry Cavill as Superman.
Yes.
And then this is the outcome we get. It's actually... It is enough to drive someone crazy. And I saw nothing but negative feedback for this. One person said, the racial hysteria has torn our country apart. The last thing we need is a racial Superman movie made by racial activists. The F is wrong with you, James Gunn.
Well, how about this? Beyond just that, beyond who's making it, you can't make this movie... You can't make that movie a hopeful, happy Superman movie because racial politics will inherently play a role in it. You can't not address it. So it will automatically suck joy right out of the project. There will be no joy in something like that. Even if you try, you can put all the soaring music you want into it. You can put all of the, cheesy Hollywood highbrow dialogue in there if you want. It's still going to feel like a modern interpretation done through the lens of racial politics. And that's anti-hopeful, unfortunately. Politics in itself isn't not a hopeful thing to be a part of, so I don't think it works.
Even the Black Adam movie, as quiet as you said it was, had its own anti-colonial or anti, I guess this narrative of resistance
Anti-NATO.
Politics in conduct. It
was definitely anti-NATO and anti-UN.
It
felt like
had messaging like that I felt also reduced its interest for me.
Yeah.
And for a lot of viewers.
But at least it makes more sense with that character. It doesn't make sense with Superman. It doesn't. What
is the argument for race swapping Superman? What does that add to it?
It doesn't add anything to it.
Because I see people responding to this, people who are black fans of DC saying I don't need you to race swap Superman or any of these traditionally white characters to make me feel represented.
Make a Steel movie.
Henry Cavill did a great job as Superman. Wouldn't you rather go with someone who is well loved unanimously? People want him to return to the screen, and it's not forced. And anytime you race swap, it's forced. You can't get that out of your mind that a boardroom of people talked about this and its impact and the ESG score that they would get out of it,
Why don't they just if they're look? I go back and forth because I do think that there needs to be a hard reset, given the fact that there's just so much baggage connected to the DCEU. But I do believe that maybe if you kept one, you keep Cavill, introduce Steel, bring Shaq back. That's what I say. Bring Shaq back. No, okay, maybe not Shaq. Get John Majors, whatever. There's a bunch of actors that you could get that are just or get Michael B. Jordan. I guess a lot of people say that he's overrated. I don't necessarily agree with that. I like Michael B. Jordan.
I kind of like him too.
But there's a lot of things you could do there that would work better than just race swapping characters. It also kind of proves that David Zaslav isn't all knowing. He's just a budget. He's just cutting the budget with a machete. He doesn't actually have a pulse on what people want.
Even he would know from a few clicks on Twitter that everyone who is engaged with DC News right now is unanimously asking for Henry Cavill in a Man of Steel sequel. That's all that I saw. And it doesn't take that much work to see that.
Yep.
And now James Gunn's biggest mistake is being as vocal as he's being on social media.
That's a big problem right now.
Getting into spats with people, making comebacks, wanting the record to be set and clear all the time, no matter what. Not everyone is going to listen to you or know every little detail. Even I saw him responding to the worry that Gal Gadot has been booted from the role of Wonder Woman, and then he responded to this comment and said, "I'm not sure where you're getting that we booted Gal," and then also makes no further clarification on what they actually did. He only says, "We're not doing this, we're not doing that." But what are you actually doing? What ideas are going into development?
Well, we're talking over the time span of less than 2 weeks. Give me
but
a break.
he's already
needs to
turning
stop
this into
talking.
more of a PR dumpster fire. So he read this thread. He said, "One of the things Peter and I were aware of when we took the job as heads of DC Studios was a certain minority of people online that could be, uproarious and unkind, to say the least."
He's talking about Snyder, fans of the Snyderverse.
Well, I couldn't tell because some of the quote tweets are saying this is about a minority of Snyderverse fans, not Snyderverse fans as a whole.
Yeah.
So he has plausible deniability there. He continued, "Our choices for the DCU are based upon what we believe is best for the story and best for the DC characters who have been around for nearly 85 years. Perhaps these choices are great, perhaps not, but they're made with sincere hearts and integrity, always with the story in mind. No one loves to be harassed or called names, but to be frank, we've been through significantly worse. Disrespectful outcry will never, ever affect our actions. It's not disrespectful to just ask for what you want and be dissatisfied when you're being told that you can't have it."
And it's the downside of social media, right? You could very well avoid this by not addressing the rumors and at least not start taking questions until you actually have something substantive to provide people to look at. Then let them, instead of letting them judge you on your ideas and what they think their ideas are, put something out so they have to judge you based on what you're releasing. Then you control the flow of information. Because if you put something out first, then anything else they say to the contrary, you just be like, "Look, that's not what we're doing. Judge this. I put this in front of you. Judge this."
And
right
not
now,
only that, he has his ego wrapped up so much that he's responding to Ray Fisher's drivel about what comments you made or didn't make about Joss Whedon. And he's telling Ray Fisher that he has his Twitter set so that his old tweets delete after a certain period of time. So
Every
it
few
seems
months,
like he was walking back on his statement about Joss Whedon, but he wasn't. And it's just who freaking cares? Why do you need to always clear the record 24/7?
Yeah,
you have a really busy job, right? Get off your phone.
Yep. He should not be. And then they're also talking about the fact that they believe in my biggest complaint from the beginning was he shouldn't be directing any movies. He shouldn't be writing any movies. He should be in charge of the direction of the projects, but he shouldn't be the one writing or directing any of this stuff because he's going to play favorites, as you would if
Concerns
you have your
about nepotism are rising.
So amazingly, Amelia Harcourt will likely survive all this because the actress Jennifer Holland is married to James Gunn. Funny how that works, right?
And then people are also mentioning his brother Sean Gunn, who has been in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Well, in Peacemaker, John
other
Cena.
Marvel projects.
John Cena will likely survive because Peacemaker was the product of his Suicide Squad movie and his vision. So those characters will live on because he's going to want them to stay part of the universe. But I don't know if I necessarily buy that. If you're going to quote that you need to get rid of all these great actors because you're doing a hard reset, then do the hard reset. But you don't get to pick and choose which ones. Or if you do, at least, like I said, make something first, give us a trailer, give us set photos, anything, so that you can steer the discussion towards what is being made, not what other people think should be made.
But he's kind of pushing back on the idea that he's doing a hard reset.
Yeah.
Just so that he can have the exceptions he wants.
That's almost worse. Getting rid of Henry Cavill sucks, but makes sense if it is a hard reset. But getting rid of him when you're not even doing that.
Getting rid of the
worse.
actor we know as Aquaman.
Yes.
The actress we know as Wonder Woman.
Yes.
And other big changes, and then keeping your favorites.
You know who seems to get out of all of this is Shazam. He nobody talks about him at all. Like he just gets left out of it.
That's kind of because like the movie has to come out.
Yeah, but like nobody's talking about what's going to happen to Zachary Levi as Shazam. He's just going to be left alone.
It's assumed that he's left alone. That Ezra Miller is left alone.
Well, no, what he's doing is he's just not making enough fuss. He's like, maybe if I just stay real quiet and still, maybe if I don't say anything at all, they'll just leave me alone and I'll be left to my own devices.
Yeah,
that's the niche you got to find. Like make enough noise and be successful enough that you make money, but don't make so much noise that you draw attention to yourself. That's like the.
I feel like DC is gonna have a big ugly year next year,
and they're gonna get rid of Ezra. I think that what they'll do with Flashpoint Paradox is in the Flash movies they'll get rid of all of them except for the ones that he wants. But I think Ezra's gone. I think Gal may stay.
Okay.
We'll see about that. I think she may stay, but they'll do it without.
The rumor is that
Patty
she's
Jenkins.
not going to get paid what she wanted to get paid for the third one.
Yeah. Well,
So she might walk away voluntarily.
That is when these actors have to put their money where their mouth is and talk about, well, did you actually care about inspiring young women? Did you actually care about the social message of your character? Like, oh my God, I'm inspiring so many people who look like me or are my same
who have
gender.
the same genitalia.
Or
as
do
me.
you really just want to make a lot of money? Because if you walk away from it because you're not making the same amount of money, I question your motives. I question whether you actually were doing it because you had strong. Believe it or not, color me shocked that they're not all actually amazingly principled people.
I mean, I wouldn't fault Gal Gadot or Henry Cavill at this point for walking away permanently because it's embarrassing for their professional standpoint to be jerked around like this in the public eye after promising new projects to the fans.
Yep.
Like they should have at least been told to stay silent on it.
Yep. Like I said, Gunn just needs to learn to be quiet. Can you is there many jobs that you guys can think of? Like, is being loud and annoying on Twitter good for anyone other than politicians? And apparently actors. I guess a lot of blue check journalists are like that.
I was going to say being a quote unquote journalist.
A quote unquote journalist.
Yeah, ones that like to get banned.
Does that happen to you? Do you see a lot of that?
I see a ton of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess because that draws attention, but that's almost like because you're in a written sphere, so it makes sense to be like that on Twitter. Yep. Because you're drawing people to your work. I guess what are they? Go look at my work on the Washington Post. It seems like you shouldn't even need to do that if you're a blue check journalist, but it's not even that anymore. It's like, go check out my Substack.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go to we got some super chats.
Carnell said they may not be doing a Calvin Ellis storyline, but are you sure it's not Val Zod? Some people don't know that there have been two Black Superman characters, Val Zod from Earth 2 and Calvin Ellis from E23.
I believe what they said was that they were doing Clark Kent but race swapped. They did not. I saw mentions of Val Zod, but there was never confirmations on that. There was at one point supposed to be a Calvin Ellis Val Zod TV show on HBO Max that Michael B. Jordan was going to be producing, but I haven't heard anything of that in quite some time. Also, we have a comment in the chat from Prince Namor, or is it Namor? Says it's Godot. Godot. It's not. It's Godot.
Did she
really
herself verify this?
What?
Did she herself verify it's Godot?
You can listen to it. You can listen.
I only started saying Godot because Brett told me that it's Godot. So I don't know. I'm not to blame for this.
It's all my fault.
Greg Duvier said the Flash movie was supposed to rest DCU movies.
Reset.
Oh, okay. Sorry, typo, dude. What is this?
A lot of the people call me Gal, 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 like different variations, but I totally get it because it's hard to pronounce.
She's so nice.
But yeah, my name is Gal Gadot.
Oh, there really is an
Hey, I'm
Oaks.
Gal Gadot, and I'm hosting SNL with musical guest Sam Smith.
You are such a natural beauty. I mean, you're almost wearing no makeup.
Thanks, Keenan.
I was talking to Sam.
Okay, Brett, we get it. It's Godot.
Also, it's not Rihanna either. It's Rihanna.
That I'll
don't
continue
care.
saying Rihanna because
say
everyone says
Rihanna, yeah.
Rihanna.
Fair point.
But we better see message retracted.
Yes.
Korik Gaming said, am I the only one wanting a movie on the Batman who laughs?
Yeah, the hybrid of him and Joker. I refuse to believe that they could actually write that well. I just don't. You'd have to get an auteur. If you bring Nolan back, maybe he could do something like that. That'd be interesting to see him do something like that.
Corey Anderson said Sean Gunn was awesome as Kirk in Gilmore Girls. Were you into Gilmore Girls?
No, I was
I've
a
been
One Tree
told to
Hill
watch
fan.
it.
I was a One Tree Hill fan.
Tacti Plati said, catching late. Yo, Chris, my favorite blue check.
Hey.
So that's you. You're the blue check that's always yelling at people on Twitter.
You got to keep the grift going. But shout out to Tacti Plati. That guy's funny. His memes are great.
Yes, he's a meme lord. Prince Namor says she told Jimmy Kimmel it's Godot. So apparently it's
She's changing the narrative.
She's just an agent of chaos and tells everyone something different.
It's Jill Godot.
Yeah, get it. she does this specifically so that this argument can happen and then keep her name in the news cycle. Very smart.
Waffles Sensei said, okay, I'm still not over the fact that Carter lied in chat about Hannah Claire being here. Where is she? What have you done with Hannah Claire?
I thought that was such an obvious lie.
She's here. I identify as Hannah Claire today.
Yes.
So she's here.
You're pulling it
in
off.
spirit.
Thank you. Thank you.
But the question
I'm
is,
not trying.
Can you dance like Hannah Claire? We were shown a
Can Hannah
video
Claire dance?
yesterday in the meme review of a specific
Oh,
clip
yeah,
of,
that was hilarious.
of Hannah Claire
I saw that.
dancing. You have to be able to match that level of dance skill.
We're working on it.
Working on it. See, I can't dance. I do not dance.
Proco Rosso forever said, I'm out of YouTube jail. You showed 3 of my memes yesterday. I'm honored. Shout out to Gross John, who challenged me to learn Photoshop so that the world can benefit from my Coyote Ugly memes.
Well, you know what?
Awesome.
There's nothing wrong with memes about Coyote Ugly, and everyone should go watch that movie.
And memes
weekend.
about how much Brett loves Coyote Ugly, and it's his favorite movie of all time forever.
Look.
And it will go on his gravestone.
Hot women dancing on bars. Like, just because it's a sappy romance movie, you guys are not... I'm in a room full of uncultured swine. That's what it is. That's what
I
it is.
didn't dislike it, for the record.
But I did love the fact that, like, she watched it, like, in the year 2022. Like, she's like, I watched it this weekend. I'm like, wow. Like, I'm guessing all the people... Like, if you looked at a chart of the people watching Coyote Ugly as the years go on, the amount of people that
It's
are
just
watching it for the
plummeting.
first time... No, I'm saying the amount of people that are seeing it for the first time is plummeted. Maybe the number stays steady, but it's
Yeah.
mostly rewatches. It's not people seeing it for the first time. So
My
good.
brain is just not wired for content that is that wholesome and sincere. Maybe not wholesome, but sincere.
It's like weirdly wholesome with like Hollywood used to be able to do more nuance, right? Raunchy outer skin, sort of a more nuanced and wholesome inner self.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Potatoes for Seamus said, Brett, I don't know what anyone says. You are king. Maybe you meant I don't care.
Thank you.
What are they saying?
I guess I'm not a king. I guess I'm not a snack either. Maybe that's
Like
what it
they're
is.
disparaging you.
They're taking it out on me. All right, guys, we're moving on. So, believe it or not, Avatar's racist.
This is gonna be fun.
You heard that. You heard that right. Avatar: The Way of Water is, of course, racist.
Yeah. So there's this phenomenon called blueface, where there are these
good.
blue alien characters with cultures that seem to be based on an amalgamation of different indigenous cultures, and you get white people to play the blue people.
Isn't there a rapper
and that's Blueface.
named Blueface?
Yes.
I don't know.
So that's a different Blueface.
Different Blueface.
That's the
If
one
that
who always gets
retroactively
that-
becomes true.
He'll
I'm
be shocked
fucked.
to hear that it's
isn't-
now referring to a form of racism.
Isn't Blueface the one who always gets beat up by his girlfriend, and he like him and his girlfriend beat each other up? in
I
public?
haven't kept up with Blueface's personal life.
Is that a superhero?
So this activist who started this boycott campaign is literally named Yue Be Gay. Be Gay.
I'm
is
guessing
her
that's.
last
I'm
name.
guessing that's their driver's
So,
license. That's on their driver's license.
This is a Native American social media influencer who self-identifies as trans and indigiqueer. I
What?
don't know what that means.
Indigenous and queer, obviously.
They are also a co-chair of Indigenous Pride LA. So here's what their tweet said. Do not watch Avatar: The Way of Water. Join natives and other indigenous groups around the world in boycotting this horrible and racist film. Our cultures were appropriated in a harmful manner to satisfy some man's savior complex. No more blueface. Lakota people are powerful. So the reason she said Lakota people are powerful is this interview James Cameron did in 2010.
Yeah,
They dug up this quote that he made about the Lakota tribe. And this is because he very obviously based Avatar on the conflict that happened between European colonizers and Native Americans.
Is that obvious?
He said himself that it's not subtle.
Devil's advocate.
You're even going with the more like reasonable argument from somebody like that has like a skin in the game. I was talking about the one from the lady, the like what's her name, Kenya Woods or whatever, Kathia Woods. She her quote was at some point we got to talk about the cultural appropriation of Avatar and white actors as cosplaying as POC. She wrote on Twitter, it's just a mess and so not necessary. No amount of visual effects or CGI is going to erase that. Bad lace fronts, dry synthetic braids, Jesus fix it. I love how like the number one comment that this movie's getting is that the CGI is absolutely incredible, but it's just so like this is the CGI to end all CGI, unless it's the CGI to end racism, in which case it doesn't stand a chance because it's America in the year 2022.
The CGI is so good that it's racist.
Yes. Yeah. Well, like.
Well, my comment was that I thought this movie was actually anti-white. Because they're representing Earth as Europe, which is a completely morally corrupted place where only the most selfish and evil people leave to destroy a planet and culture where they are living in complete harmony, complete abundance. They have no social ills. They don't kill because they're morally enlightened. And
you're basing it off the story. They're basing it off the director and the casting.
Well, these are people who openly admit that they never watched the movie. Yeah.
Well, and the one
which
the
they probably should if they're going to try to, critique it at this in-depth level.
Kathia Woods saw it. She advertises herself as a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic. I don't know why you'd brag about something like that, but
yeah.
What do I know?
So, Blueface characters are played by a non-Indigenous person. This woman says James Cameron is guilty of favoring non-Indigenous folks to play Na'vi.
Did they use an X in folks?
No, but I looked at their Twitters and they all say X.
Well, that's a problem. If there's no X, how am I supposed to know that they're being inclusive?
An alien race based on indigenous cultures he appropriated from. This is a form of racist caricature known as Blueface, coined after the infamous film in 2009, Avatar.
Zoe Saldana is Black Latina. CCH Pounder is African American. Cliff Curtis is a member of the Maori tribe. These
are the people that played them, right?
That are in the movie. Yeah. So she's either lying or just being in.
Well, I think the main problem they have with it is that any white people were involved and that they didn't cast any Native American actors or actresses. And then they made these tweets that were like, if you don't want to watch any ridiculous movies about blue aliens that are racist, then watch these sci-fi films created by Native filmmakers.
That is their problem.
And then in every list, Prey was one of the top recommendations, and that's when I stopped listening because they obviously don't care about the quality of the film at all.
No, they care about who made it. It's
we all know Prey sucked and was a girl power suckfest.
Well, actually, a lot of people in the space that we're in would disagree with you. I think a lot of people, me and you, were kind of in the minority that we didn't really like it.
What space?
Like into the YouTube, like a lot of people watching this channel, I bet you like
the indigiqueer space.
The indigiqueer space. The indigiqueers loved Prey. It's just simple as. And then I saw this other, list that had a bunch of sci-fi novels that were recommended, and it's like you're not really in touch with the culture because the biggest blockbuster film right now is Avatar, the Avatar sequel. Mm-hmm. And you're not creating something on its level or better than that. You're just criticizing.
Yep. Well, they don't want to
all they're capable of doing is criticizing.
They also were calling out Cameron's quote from an interview that came out. So it says this was his from back in 2010 in an interview with The Guardian. He says, "This was a driving force for me in the writing of Avatar. I couldn't help but think that if the Lakota Sioux had a time window and they could see the future." And they could see their kids committing suicide at the highest suicide rates in the nation because they were hopeless and they were a dead end, and that they were a dead end society, which is what is happening now. They would have fought harder. The world was different in 2010, and you definitely there's no way a guy like him would make any type of comment about that now because they're going to tell you to stay in your lane. He would be told to stay in his lane, but does intent matter? Like, I feel like the problem with it is they don't believe that intentions matter and that context doesn't matter. The idea here is that he made a story honestly, fairly, whether we like it or not. I like the movie. The idea is that he did it without any type of like anger, resentment. He did not try to be sarcastic. He was not trying to...
If anything, I feel it came out of a place of self-loathing.
Yeah.
As someone
in
who's
a way,
descended from Europeans, his intent was to create a movie that lambasted the actions of the people who colonized and then built what is today America.
And that is a big part of the movie, right? You guys haven't seen the movie. A big part of the movie is that basically the white scientists in the white military industrial complex come to the planet and destroy things.
And even though they look way cooler and they have really cool tech, we're supposed to not sympathize with them.
Yeah, and the idea here is that they're played as caricatures and everybody else is kind of given more depth and nuance. Which, to
they
be
play
fair,
it like they torture animals for
It's a
fun
digital
or something.
whiteface, if you ask me.
Like, I don't think that they want to get into some of the cruel and unusual practices that many indigenous tribes engaged in before colonization, because that doesn't fit the narrative. Another thing that they pointed out, and they acted like they were exposing James Cameron for some secret plot that he was basing Avatar off of these historical events when he openly admitted it. They pointed out this comment from a legal document in 2012 where Avatar's intellectual property was getting disputed. They said that he stole the idea. He explained, Avatar is a science fiction retelling of the history of North and South America in the early colonial period. Avatar very pointedly made reference to the colonial period in the Americas, with all its conflict and bloodshed between military aggressors from Europe and the indigenous peoples. Europe equals Earth, Native Americans are the Na'vi. It's not meant to be subtle. So they're acting like they're unveiling this huge secret that James Cameron was hiding, where he inspired this story, but it's been extremely obvious to everybody else who's watched these movies that it's based on those struggles of the past.
And let's face it, the idea here is that you just can't. You're not allowed to tell certain stories if you look a certain way. Everyone.
Well, he's an evil white man.
Yes.
So.
Well, but I'm saying that I guess their idea is that everyone should stay in their own lanes. Look, there's an argument to be made that maybe not in the science fiction space, because I think that science fiction lends itself to a whole wealth of creativity that they're ignoring. But the show Reservation Dogs is really, really good because it was written, directed, it stars an indigenous cast that very clearly shows a world.
Reservoir Dogs?
No, Reservation Dogs.
That's it.
Reservoir
It's like
Dogs.
based on
I thought it was related.
the title.
Oh,
Yeah. But it feels authentic because the director and the writer, the showrunner, all understood that world, right? So there's not an argument. There's an argument to be made that that's not a bad thing, but that doesn't mean you should stop other people from trying to tell their own stories just because they don't live that culture in a one-to-one exchange.
Of course not.
Wasn't this story written like 10 years ago too, and they've just been working on the animations for 10 years?
I mean, he wrote the scripts for these ages ago.
Right. So
essentially,
but it
they
was
came to him in a
ages
dream.
ago.
Yeah.
Well, if
Now
we're
it's
supposed
not.
to stay in our own lanes, then what stories can white people tell? Because no matter what,
I mean,
our
this would be the
perspective
one,
is
right?
incorrect.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be the one, right?
Well,
if
no,
you're
'cause-
descended from Europeans that colonized this country,
Then the
it's
funny
part of your history too.
The funny part here is then if it was that, then they would have to tell it from the white people's perspective and risk either them being the bad, either admitting that they want them to be the good guys, in which you'll be saying you're glorifying colonialism, or make them the bad guys, in which it just becomes an even more abrupt and forceful version of self-flagellation.
It's obvious that these people didn't watch Avatar: Way of Water, because if they had, it does anything but glorify colonization.
No, it doesn't.
It completely villainizes all of the military.
Yep.
And even though they're doing it because, quote, Earth is dying, they're doing this out of sheer need for survival. They're still villainized to the point where I thought it was cartoonish.
Yeah, especially the hunter guy was particularly cartoon. There's this one character. He's got like a really hilariously thick Australian accent, and he just kills stuff to kill stuff, and he's like, because all he cares about is money, and it's very clear that where the beliefs of the director lie on something like this. But is there anything now that isn't racist? Can you think of anything?
Well, the whole time I've been thinking about the fact that 10 years ago I was an avatar for Halloween and I was also a
Oh
Native
my
American.
God.
So I'm like, what does that mean
Carter
for me
Banks
now?
just exposed
Retroactive.
live on
Photos
air for racism.
Photos
They're still there.
resurfaced.
They're still there. They never unsurfaced.
No, but that's the thing, though. That's not what happens. Resurfacing means somebody took pictures that were still there, reposted them, which means they've
posted them.
resurfaced. So you better be
Yeah.
careful because those pictures are going to resurface
Really?
one day.
They're on my Instagram.
Well, somebody's going to go back through your timeline and repost them with an article from a blue check journalist on Twitter, and he's going to totally own you.
Hold on, it
defend
has to be one that says this is legacy, a verified account.
Yes.
Those are the ones you got to watch out for. The blue verified, like me, we're good.
You're good.
We're good.
Legacy
Not,
verified.
we don't want the yellow
No.
verification.
We'll reshare your avatar pics and we'll be like based.
Sweet.
You know.
As long as you get to it before they do.
Not
of
me.
course,
I'm
yeah.
going to be one of the
defense.
other ones, and I'm going to be like, look at this blue face wearing bad person.
Well, you wouldn't even be able to tell it was me because it was so good. So
You are an expert at Halloween costumes.
thank you.
I wanted to read this open letter that they gave to James Cameron, which I doubt he's going to read. He said, it said, "Dear James Cameron, this is unacceptable. Black and indigenous people are more than enough to play aliens based on us. We should have been the ones whose faces and voices appeared on the screen. We are
Their
experts
faces
in
don't
portraying
appear on
our
the screen.
We are the experts in portraying our hurt, suffering, and our resilience. You are not our leader. Stop trying to lead. You are an outsider, a guest to our lands and culture. Act like it."
This is fiction.
It's fiction.
By Yui B. Gay, two-spirit trans woman, indigiqueer,
all of-
scholar.
If he made a movie in which he was making it about a specific tribe, there's an argument to be made here that in not casting those people would make perfect sense to write that same letter. This is such a reach, it's not even funny.
If
It's
he were to reach out
inspired
and
on
ask
true
them,
events.
wouldn't that be insulting though? If he reached out and asked them, "Hey, would you guys want to play these characters in my movie?"
well, then,
Be like,
yeah, then they would be like,
Are you
you're
kidding me?
stereotyping us.
Yeah,
Right.
why are you putting me in a box that I have to play?
The point is you can't win. The point is to give up
Yes.
because they want you to be demoralized and give up.
And I'm not here to like cape for James Cameron. Like, I don't like the guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't particularly enjoy the movie all that much.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
I
Did
liked
you?
I haven't seen the
You
second
haven't seen
one.
it yet?
No.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, I didn't think it was anything all that special, but to say that his movie is racist is absolutely delusional.
Yes, let's think that's the world we live in now, where they're going to get likes and shares and clicks, and it's a drug.
There
I
is
didn't even
one
see
way.
any pushback on this.
South Park made fun of James Cameron and Avatar, so you could make the argument that they did
In
it
2009 or like
I think-
recently?
right. Way back.
Okay.
They made fun of him for the Titanic, I think, and then also they turned a Smurf thing into an Avatar thing.
Did you see the article, Mary, that I sent you a while ago about Kate Winslet talking about how she was fat shamed for
I
not
saw that.
allowing Leo to be on the door with her in Titanic?
There's not enough room.
Oh my god! Like it's actually like I almost want to pull it up. Right? It was like she somehow turned it into like a virtue signal and a woe is me.
She was also slut shamed for cheating on her fiance
Well,
in
she
that
was.
movie as
I
well.
mean, I didn't slut shame her. Do your
Get
thing,
your
girl.
bag.
Get your bag,
Or
girl.
like
I'm,
not your bag
like-
because he's poor.
Like, you know, if you can
Oh,
get
I
away
missed
with it,
that
girl.
part.
You know,
Dude, she totally was with that guy. I forgot about
Yeah.
that. Wow.
like
That was the whole point. Yeah.
Well, he was an evil guy.
Yeah.
She's
were
having
led
an
to
affair
believe.
on a cruise.
that is one of Mary's hotter takes is that guy wasn't that bad. Because
Her fiance
stole a
literally
baby.
wasn't that bad of a guy.
To
Like,
get off the boat.
he did steal a baby to get out. Well, nowadays,
Wait, really?
Yes.
Oh, come on. That's like Stephen King level villainy.
I mean, nowadays,
I mean, he probably did it.
Nowadays, he would just claim to be a woman, and
Right.
they let him on the boat anyway.
That's
We'll
funny.
never know. People will never get canceled for their faux pas while the Titanic was sinking because, you know, the lights were off.
It's this is one of those discussions where it's like it does feel like it's not quite as ridiculous as Shark Week being racist.
Yeah,
I
but
missed
it's
that one.
definitely getting there.
It's getting close to Shark Week levels of of ridiculousness.
Well, it's like, look at this popular thing that a lot of people love. How can I make it about me?
yeah.
Every situation, there's somebody screeching in the corner because they're narcissistic and need everything to center around them.
Shabazz Claymore in the chat says it's almost like they haven't heard of what an allegory is. I mean, that's like the problem. Isn't that the problem? Is that they know what it is. They're telling you that you, because you don't look like them, are not allowed to tell that story or make that allegory. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So it's also we have one more bit of Avatar news. Sad Avatar news.
There was a man in India who died of a heart attack in the middle of a screening of Avatar: Way of Water.
That is so sad.
And it was sudden.
It says yeah.
It was sudden.
What part happened?
It says he had to be. So it says Dr. Jarrah, director of Fortis Hospital, told the publication that after COVID, there is a continuing inflammation in our blood vessels. He added, because of stress, increase in blood pressure, like what happened in this case, arteries of the heart could have ruptured, and that can cause sudden cardiac arrest.
So I guess that Avatar 2 is just such a dramatic, thrilling film.
It says
that it can literally give you a heart attack.
Yeah, but it says these kinds of deaths do happen during exciting matches, emotional situations. The movie per se is unlikely to have caused the death. Well, I'm guessing that's because James Cameron doesn't want a body count. Like
James Cameron is like, miss me with that.
Yeah, he's like,
miss me with that liability.
I'm not.
It's different, I guess, than like causing people with epilepsy to have a seizure.
That's a big one. Like you're not supposed to post any type of flashing lights. Or the first time I noticed that was mainstream was when the song "All of the Lights" by Kanye West and Rihanna. Yeah. When the music video came out and they put a epilepsy disclaimer at the front of the video.
Because see it all the time now.
Yeah, like that's so very weird. Common now. So. Very, very, very sad to see something like that happen, but yeah.
I'll read some super chats now. Caper2X said, what if Cavill invites all his former DC friends and fellow actors to help him make the 40K movie, Sweet Revenge? It's going to be a series, so I don't know if that's going to be possible.
That'd be cool.
But yeah.
I mean, cool.
But also none of them like Warhammer 40K.
Yeah, like he does.
So
I don't buy maybe Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck's kind of a
They
nerd,
could try to get into it.
He's got kids and he's got a deal with J-Lo now, so I don't know if he's got the time.
He's busy.
He's busy.
Badap said, what is your opinion on Black Santa and High Carter?
What's up, Badap?
Is there a specific Black Santa? Like, I have no problem with Black Santa during like at malls and stuff.
It just feels weird to see images of Black Santa on merchandise in like Home Goods or whatever, because I never saw that before like a couple years ago.
But like at a mall, like a mall Santa, that doesn't bother me.
I've never even seen a mall Santa.
I had black friends growing up who had black Santas for the top of their tree. Yeah. It's just a nothing to me thing.
The outrage about it kind of reminds me of when people say that Jesus wasn't white and they have to like force the idea that he was either like black or very dark skinned, and it's like ultimately it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Like
you hate Jesus either way, don't you? Like so why do you care what race he was?
They got to convince you that you're upset about it.
Yeah, like I don't care. Yeah. I really don't.
That was one of the first times, like one of the first signals that I had. Like one of my friends who got he moved to Portland and he just as will happen, and he used to be pretty religious. He was a religious dude, and like his family was religious. He'd go to church on Sundays, and I remember like looking at his Instagram story one day, and it was about like all the lies of the church, and that was on there, and I'm like, wow, like that was the first hint to me that something had changed in his life. But I kind of felt bad because if he's happy, but he didn't seem happier. He seemed more upset, and he seemed like. He may believe now that he's more culturally enlightened, but he seemed like he was in a better place mentally and emotionally at that time. He was more at peace with certain aspects of himself. Though I could make the argument,
it's kind of a preoccupation and a paranoia.
Yeah,
that takes over.
And it's like the focus is on the wrong thing, right? Like that's not really what the focus should be when discussing Jesus.
Yeah. Bad App said sup vanilla face.
Is that me or is that you or is that these two?
I thought he said villain face. Did I read that wrong?
It's
vanilla
not
face.
Oh.
Is that a
I mean, is that any different in society now? Villain face?
Actually, no.
I think that what I'm reading is a slur for white people, and I'm very offended.
Excuse me. I'm Jewish. We're the white brown people. So
I didn't know. I never heard that either until recently. I watched.
When are we going to see Jewish superheroes, man?
I'm waiting.
A Jewish Santa.
So far, we got Seth Rogen. That guy's. I'm not going to say it.
But there was.
Seth Rogen is absolutely unhinged, by the way.
Oh my God.
Like, why is he allowed on Twitter?
He does not represent us.
Do you remember when he got into a Twitter spat with Gad Sad?
Yeah.
And, like, Gad Sad just eviscerated him. And,
Yes.
and like, he sent him a weird, deranged message.
I
about,
remember
like-
him telling Gina Carano that he wanted to, like, throw her off a cliff or something. Like, he also said that he was gonna, like, come to Tulsi Gabbard's house. Like, he was like, I'm literally driving in your direction right now. Ha ha ha.
That's threatening.
No, he was like,
You're
responding
insane.
to people on Twitter in 2020 at the height of the riots and everything, and he's just responding random people. F you, don't watch my movies. Like, chill,
Not a
dude.
good way to market
Look,
your stuff.
here's the thing though. He's part of an industry where he's insulated from that.
Yeah.
Those movies will make so much money. Like they'll make enough money and he'll get paid up front anyways. It's when comic book writers say don't buy my stuff, when they don't get paid up front and they don't sell very well and they don't get royalties, then I laugh because it's like they think they have the clout to be a Seth Rogen and be like, don't like my politics, well don't buy my stuff and don't watch my movies. But you're not making the same amount of money. You're not getting the same guarantees on your contracts. You're just hurting yourself and everyone else. Because the other thing is, like, if you're in comics and you say something like that, it's not just you that gets hurt. It's the artist, it's the penciler, it's the inker. It's like a lot of people get hurt when you can't shut your mouth. And this is one of my problems. Like, I feel like there's a lack of grace in these industries. Like, look, a lot of people are going to come to you and they're going to have awful takes and they're going to be rude to you. But does it really, like, if you're selling a product, maybe if you want to lie to yourself or you want to justify to yourself, say, me being polite to this person in the face of their rudeness is just a business move. And maybe that's what you need to tell yourself so that you can make more money. But most people aren't willing to swallow their ego, swallow their pride and set their ego aside to do that. They have to get in the last word. And I feel like that's the wrong. Like, look at Tom Cruise. He's jumping out of airplanes. He's riding his motorcycle off cliffs. More on that tomorrow. And all the while, do I believe that he actually gives a crap about fans? Maybe. But I'm happy to lie to myself and pretend that he does because he says he does and he doesn't tell me I'm awful. I'm willing to be lied to if you can just pretend to be a civilized human being for like 5 minutes. Does it hurt you? No, it does not.
Brett loves the way you lie.
I do.
Hollywood.
I feel like civilized is a racist term now.
Yeah, that's gonna be a
Think
new
about Avatar?
microaggression
Right.
soon.
Oh no, there was another thing today. Like a college released their list of like triggering words or something like that, and American was on there or
great.
something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We've got a good point from Caper2X. He said, Brett, that's my problem with Avatar. They got the tech to travel to other planets and clone bodies, but not to save Earth. Oh, please.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like
Well,
then the
plot holes.
like
Plot holes happen.
the idea.
Leaving
Yeah.
room for a
the-
third one.
like that's just like look over here. It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. Like you
But
can.
I would love to know, like, what's happening on Earth.
You can usually that'll be on Avatar 9 when I'm dead and you're 80 years old.
When I'm in hospice care.
And Avatar 9 comes out and there we find out but I don't want to see that. Like that's the problem with television now. Is like now like you get a spin-off for a character that nobody actually cared about. I don't need to know. Like 20 years ago it was cool to think about like what would happen if you went home for the night with like this side character rather than with the main character. Now all they see it as is like marketable IP. I don't need to know what's going on Earth. I need to know what's going on in Pandora, and you can't even really seem to be doing that all that well. Maybe just stick with Pandora for now.
I need to stop watching YouTube. I am not reading that. Sorry.
I'll read it.
Why?
Cage the Mick said, no, come on, guys. That guy passed during Avatar because of racism and climate change, obviously.
Also, guys, I saw an article today about how you shouldn't be giving out lumps of coal anymore because of climate change.
The climate impact
Is
is
like
too high.
you cannot give naughty children lumps of coal anymore because of climate change. I'm ready for the comet, ladies and
Whatever
gentlemen.
happened to global warming? Thought that was the thing. Now it's climate change.
Oh, what?
I know.
That was-
Yeah, they
I was like,
updated.
no way. You're like, you don't work here and not no.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm pointing that
So
out.
yes, yeah, you can't give lumps of coal anymore, no matter who you are.
Yeah. Sad day. Waffle Sensei said, Carter, Avatar 2 was awesome, just like the first one. Don't listen to these haters.
What?
I'm glad James Cameron told everyone they were wrong about his movie. He's not going to make $2 billion off this, but it was great.
I don't know who you're calling a hater. I like the movie.
I didn't hate it at all.
No, I Waffle Sensei, I love Avatar, as does everyone at this table, and I'm definitely going to see it.
The chat is going off still about Black Santa.
Why?
They're still talking about Black Santa.
It's a very deep topic, I guess.
That app was good.
Quiet
Good
Inari
commenting.
says Mary is the voice of reason today. You are the voice of reason.
Really?
Today. You are the voice of reason today.
That's happens so rarely.
Yes.
Anyway, let's move on and talk about something very unreasonable.
Let's do it.
J.K. Rowling mocks a trans gamer for comments about Hogwarts Legacy. So Hogwarts Legacy is a video game that's coming out next year in February, and everyone is having a cow about it and the ethics of supporting J.K. Rowling after she has become an anti-trans, hateful bigot.
There is no group of people more willing to do mental gymnastics than people who are addicted to Harry Potter but hate J.K. Rowling.
The thing
it's kind of incredible.
J.K. Rowling is kind of addicted to pissing people
She is.
off.
It, like, annoyingly
when you
so.
tweet "Mary Turf Miss,"
I kinda
you're
like
kind of
her.
asking
Like,
for the
she's-
heat to.
She's cringy.
Like, yeah, it's cringy. Like, I'm not a turf because I'm not a feminist, haha. But
Take that.
so this trans gamer / YouTube streamer and journalist Jesse Earl tweeted out any support of the Harry Potter franchise current projects while J.K. Rowling is in charge of it and using her ongoing platform to target and justify her continued targeting of trans people is harmful to trans people. I will not begrudge anyone their love of past works or things they already own, but that they take comfort in. I own the first 9 movies and all 7 books myself, but any support of something like Hogwarts Legacy is harmful. And J.K. Rowling found this tweet and responded, saying deeply disappointed at the username of that person, by the way, is Jesse Gender. Doesn't realize Pure Think is incompatible with owning anything connected with me in any form. The truly righteous wouldn't just burn their books and movies, but the local library, anything with an owl on it and their own pet dogs. Hashtag do better. And then one of the responses to Jesse Earl's tweet said, yup, if you have any DVDs and books, live your best life. They're already bought and paid for. You can read it on your own time. Nobody needs to know. But don't stream it, don't buy merch, and don't buy the games.
See, the nobody needs to know part is the funny part. It means that
yeah.
they want you, they don't actually want to stand by their principles. They want to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah. So then J.K. Rowling screenshotted that response and said, as for this, I am appalled. This individual, thank you.
No coal for us because
Christmas
coal is bad
party.
for the environment.
This individual actually advocates reading the books because, quote, nobody needs to know. All fine and dandy until you get drunk and accidentally quote one, Sonny.
Oops.
I never did it in public. Won't save you when the police see your Hufflepuff socks. Yikes. The Hufflepuffs were always the worst house, by the way. Like, I'm not into Harry Potter. I don't know a lot about the lore. I just know that anyone I met who identified as a Hufflepuff was insufferable.
Right.
You're kind of like a mishmash of like a soggy blanket and like somebody that's a really big pushover.
Right.
What
You weren't
house
good
are
or
you,
evil.
Brett?
You were
I'm
just
not.
in between.
I'm never going to.
You were into Harry Potter, don't lie.
Yes, but I don't know what house I am.
I took the test until I got Slytherin.
I got Slytherin the first time.
That is not hard to believe at all. Not hard to believe.
Well, it's just like the Slytherin are the evil guys.
Like,
They're bad for no reason.
You're clearly the look. I love all of the books. I think they were fantastic. Also, you weren't alive at the time. It was such a cultural touchstone in this country. Like, imagine this: a world where you could get kids to read.
Yeah.
Like, read
Well,
books.
at the time, it was like all of my peers and their Christian parents were the ones that were all gun-ho against J.K. Rowling and wanting to ban these books, burn these books.
Yeah.
I
miss
miss
those
when there
days.
was a faction like that instead of the moralists from the gender crew.
Guys, you have no idea how much I would love to be like dunking on Christian moralists than I do dunking on. Like, I wish that was still a thing that I could. Like,
But the
like,
weight shifted.
And this is the thing. Like, now, like we talk about, like when we talk about Megan Fox wearing like a sexy nun costume. You're pushing
then, like,
back against something that hasn't been in power for 20 years.
having MGK dress up as a priest, giving her fake Eucharist.
I want to actually be the one dunking on
that's not
Christians.
edgy anymore. Are you too old to know that, Megan Fox? Are you just an old hag who doesn't keep up with the times?
Exactly.
So this conversation, I want to differentiate between the take that you shouldn't buy the games or stream Harry Potter related things because it gives J.K. Rowling money, and the take that it helps her continue on the path of like relevancy, her name.
She also she needs to she needs a refresh. She needs a rebrand. Like she's doing, like, Dave Chappelle at least got away from the constant talking about trans stuff. Like, we get it. Like, you've had your problems. They are certainly there is very few communities right now with the power that the trans lobby has in this country, at least as far as on social media, right? Like, but it can't be all you are. If anything, you're doing yourself a disservice by like making this all you are as a person. Do you really want to be known?
Maybe that's what she wants. She's kind of already made her legacy, though. Now she can just sit back and troll people on Twitter.
That's true. And she did actually say, I read my recent royalty checks.
Yes.
And I sleep well at night.
She also said that sales went up every time.
She's just promoting on Twitter with.
So she's she's rage promoting. That's, it is what it is. She did just buy that island, right, from Johnny Depp.
I don't hold it against her that she feels like speaking her mind on this, but again, like, just like James Cameron, I don't think you should be banned or silenced, but I'm not a huge fan of you either. And what you've put out in the culture, that like she did that retroactively editing canon to appease a woke crowd that wanted certain characters to be LGBT, for instance, or race swapping.
Yeah, she
was pro all of that until it encroached past her limit.
Yep.
Then she wanted to push back.
Yep.
But she doesn't realize that it all goes together.
There's also a really funny thing going on with the game where Harry Potter is too valuable of an IP, but she's too incendiary of a person, where they have to like she's involved, but they have to try to mitigate how involved she is because they don't want to piss off people on the internet. So it says some additional context for all this. They talk about this statement, which was J.K. Rowling is not involved in the creation of the game, but as creator of the Wizarding World and one of the world's greatest storytellers, her extraordinary body of writing is the foundation of all projects in the Wizarding World. This is not a new story from J.K. Rowling. However, we have collaborated closely with her team on all aspects of the game to ensure it remains in line with the magical experiences fans expect. They want to both not be involved with her and involved with her at the same time because you can somehow try to get the best from both audiences, right?
They're distancing themselves as much as possible while at the same time making money off of her IP.
Yep. Also, did you see this? I remembered this right before we went live. There was a guy who got fired from Hogwarts Legacy because they found out he had like a Gamergate right-wing YouTube channel. And of course, like, if there's no place you're probably less welcome than like making a Harry Potter game.
That's weird. Isn't the recent Robert Galbraith book exactly from that perspective of a YouTuber who gets targeted?
I can't believe you remembered the name of her other book series. Robert Galbraith is the name of her like detective series of like J.K. Rowling has a detective book series. I can't believe you remember.
Yeah, she like wrote about this fictional YouTuber who got hunted down at his house for being transphobic.
His name's Troy Levitt or Leavitt. He says this is old. This is like from last year, but this guy got banned or he left the game voluntarily, and then Polygon wrote all these articles about how he was alt-right. But they call him like right wing adjacent and stuff like that. So it says he says I've made a decision to part ways with Avalanche Software. I have nothing but good things to say about the game, the dev team, and WB Games. I will be releasing a YouTube video about this soon on my channel. To clarify, I felt absolutely secure in my position. However, I still wanted to resign for reasons that I will explain later. And they go on to talk about how basically. He said he had a channel called Did You Know Gaming called attention to his 4-year-old YouTube channel, which had like 60 videos that had harsh right-wing criticism of Anita Sarkeesian and other feminists and social justice advocates at large.
Gamergate keeps rearing its ugly head. It will never end.
It's like eventually your kids will still be talking about Gamergate. Like you weren't
Mommy, what's Gamergate?
You were in like junior high when Gamergate was going on, and eventually your kids will be in junior high when Gamergate 2 Electric Boogaloo happens and we have to deal with the outcome of that one. And it'll be like a weird generational thing where then like Anita Sarkeesian's kids or her cats will be talking about. I don't know. Does she have kids? I don't know if she has kids. I'm sorry. That was a joke. I'm kidding. Like, her kids will be arguing with your kids. Maybe they'll switch sides. Maybe your kids will be the feminists and her kids will be the alt-right Yahtzees that are pushing back against Gamergate 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Don't wish this
Maybe
on
that's
me.
what the Gamergate
Don't wish this fate
Maybe
on
that's
me.
what the Gamergate movie should have been about. About a fictional Gamergate 2.
Yikes.
Let's
I want to stop talking about Gamergate forever, but they won't let us.
Will never happen.
And with J.K. Rowling, like, I want to stop hearing from all of these butthurt people who are addicted to Twitter that they finally found their reason to boycott J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter forever, when clearly they don't want to. They're attached to the IP. They still want to buy things from it and read the books and watch the movies. Like, they genuinely enjoy this thing, but are looking for reasons not to because they're mentally deranged.
Is there anything-
I'm tired of hearing that. And, like, I even saw someone say something like, I took all of my Harry Potter books that I own off of the shelves. I keep them hidden so that people don't look in the background of my Zoom meetings and see the books on my bookshelf and get triggered by them.
The derangement
And, like,
is real, dude.
I'm sorry. You're imagining that someone looking at your bookshelf over Zoom is getting triggered by J.K. Rowling's opinions about gender ideology.
If that one CNN girl can have a dildo in the background.
Like,
You know what?
person-
That actually
when are
gives me a
people
great
going to
idea.
start taking responsibility for their own mental states and not asking to be babysat by the rest of the adult world? Especially when it comes to J.K. Rowling. Like, I'm really tired of it.
Is there anything
We're
you guys,
doomed if we can't get past a hurdle like this small.
Totally building a bookshelf background with all kinds of weird stuff on it.
That's like literally what I have.
make a trigger, like a trigger happy bookshelf background? It's just like there's your J.K. Rowling, there's
Jordan
the,
Peterson.
and the O.J.
Yeah.
Simpson book,
Yep.
and like there's
Every
all-
conflicting thing you can think of.
Yep.
like that would be incredible. Like there's a picture, like you've got a framed picture of Kyle
So
Rittenhouse.
they
and-
took the Harry Potter
Kyle
series
Rittenhouse.
off of their bookshelf, and what they left up was all of those like self-help books that are like the subtle art of not giving a boop. Like I don't listen to these people. And also
Walmart's
the
finest.
fake outrage really gets me because it's from people who would never have the balls to like live up to their threats, like Seth Rogen, exactly that type of person that just like makes deranged threats on Twitter but would never back them up in real life. Like one person tweeted, "Your grave will become one of the most popular gender neutral bathrooms, up there with Margaret Thatcher, and I sure as hell will use it." Like, stop pretending you're hard. You are not. Like, you are not.
Not just that, but it's the way there's a very specific type of lingo that people use when they dunk on Twitter that you know that they wrote it out and they were giggling as they wrote it. And it's like that creative
J.K. Rowling's gonna see this one.
that course they took at the writing annex, like on creative writing, like paid off. Like somebody should teach a course. I bet you. Is there a college course on Twitter dunking? I bet you that's a
There
thing.
should be. If
should
there's
be.
one on Harry
How-
Styles, there should be one on Twitter.
How to dunk on Twitter seems like that would be an actual course.
The
that somebody would be-
dialectics of dunking on people.
That's so
it's like,
funny.
and it
This
is
is the same level of fakery as when like OnlyFans women post about how they are like buying new houses and cars and they're so like ultra mega rich from being in the top 1% of OnlyFans. But in reality, like you're not a baller and you're getting the same outcome that you could have gotten from just getting a real job. Like, you know, a lot of ordinary people, they buy homes and cars and they don't have to sell their bodies to do it. But this is like the same level of just like fake, like, I don't know, people whose egos are completely wrapped up in getting social media points, and it's embarrassing to watch.
even better than an actual bookshelf would be to just make like a background, like a printout one that you
Fake
put up,
bookshelf.
like they do on movie sets. When they
Make a
put, like,
bookshelf, take a picture of that bookshelf, and then get that printed out.
and
large.
actually have like rotating ones with various types of things. Like one has a picture of Kyle Rittenhouse, the other one has the Dave Chappelle attacker. Like and like you just put various things depending on who you're looking to anger. Like you do
Right.
interviews with, you do one interview with the Washington Post, you do one interview with Breitbart, and the Breitbart one has different stuff
It's a
than
personalized attack backdrop.
yeah, like
Or-
like it, yeah.
I'm
like,
being
trigger
personally
happy backdrop.
attacked by your bookshelf.
yeah, like
in the background of our
well,
Zoom
the
meeting.
CNN
When does that
person had
reach
the
attack level, though?
It depends on what you put on there. Like you could make a whole Kanye West one, like just of stuff Kanye. Like
Kanye West's backdrop would be pretty bad.
Somebody's got like the Balenciaga bears
geez.
in the background. That's something that
No.
somebody would do. Like that's the world we live in now.
Yeah.
So, also, I wanted to ask: is there anything that you are morally, outwardly opposed to, but you participate on in private? I'm asking you on the spot to out yourselves here. Is there any, or at least at the very least, is there anything that you like, but you don't go out of your way to talk about?
Probably just music. Music's probably my worst one. The
Like-
most annoying people, I still listen to the music.
Like certain artists.
Just
that-
name them. Whoever's got the worst takes.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's like that with movies and stuff. Like me, I can still love a person's movie even if they're absolutely abhorrent
Yeah.
online.
I
Like,
have
it's-
one.
Who? What?
I've streamed at least half of the RuPaul's Drag Race series.
Oh my god.
At least half.
That is so antithetical to you as a person.
I
Like,
know.
That's like the most anti-Mary thing I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I wouldn't admit it because I just admitted it. But again, it's like when they try to push this shit on kids is when I'm like, no, never mind.
You're a mystery wrapped in an enigma. Like that makes no
Well,
sense.
because
to me.
like doesn't gay culture exist to be entertaining for everyone else who's not a part of it?
Like, I mean, I get like, I mean, it is
And
a
to
product.
be and to be fringe.
They are
so when
products
when they
that are-
try
that
to
are
push for
marketed.
this to be mainstream, it takes all of the what once was thought of as the appeal out of it. You know?
yeah.
Like that was something that was supposed to be kept on the fringes of society.
I'm gonna read some of the. There's some chats. People are chiming in on this.
Well, Carter, do you have anything
Yes,
to add?
I do.
Oh,
Let us know.
I used to watch this show called Siesta Key
what?
with my brother. It's
what?
it's about some dude whose dad just bought him a reality TV show and his friends, and he just like films them and their dating life, and they do nothing. It's well, it's
Guilty
like
pleasure.
Jersey Shore, but like
yeah.
nobody
Okay, so,
actually
like-
has a job.
But that's like we're getting into like guilty pleasure territory. These people aren't talking about guilty pleasure. They're talking about guilty until proven innocent. Like
Yeah, I don't hate any of these people. I think it's a good show.
Like-
but I
like
don't
the-
like them.
Something
I
you
think
are
that-
morally opposed to.
Like these people are morally opposed to the writer of Harry Potter, but still love her books in media. Is there anything that you're like morally opposed? Like you
That's the
secretly
default
love
for people
Karl
on our
Marx?
side of the aisle, though.
What?
You know, like the default state for us
Is
is
everything
that we are
is- yeah.
we are supporting entertainment from people who hate us.
Yeah.
That's the default for
Yeah.
us.
I
You
don't-
kind of can't get away from it.
I don't think there's anything that I wouldn't really like not admit. You know,
Yeah.
there's
Right.
nothing that I'm ashamed of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're not trying to virtue signal at the end of the day. We just like what we
True.
like.
Yeah.
But with them, with these like Twitter freaks, everything is about appearances.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, so
And fake virtue.
like Lizzo, let's take for example. I can't stand her as a person. She is so annoying.
But her music slaps.
I'm
for
not
you.
gonna lie, some of it slaps. Aesthetically. But once you listen to the lyrics, it's
Yeah.
like, shut up.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get
I'll
it.
listen
She's
to
a
her
good
now.
singer.
Yeah, she's talented, but
She's a good
She needs a
flute
mother.
player.
The flute too.
I
It's
never
like-
had-
Multi-talented queen.
I never hated Justin Bieber.
Oh, me neither.
Okay, I did. I did.
yeah, I hate
I
him.
used to hate him because I was jealous.
I
though.
think it was a trend for millennials to hate Justin Bieber, and I never understood why.
He was
Like,
too,
there was nothing wrong with him.
like
He was
when
perfectly inoffensive. In fact, better than, like, whatever young people are into now.
peeing in, like when he was
was, like,
peeing
the
in mop
last-
buckets. I was like, you go.
He was the
Go through
last,
your-
like, straight white male that young girls were allowed to, like, idolize in an Elvis-esque fashion.
because
the
even like
Jonas
one.
What
Brothers are
happened to
back.
that? Now
What
we
about-
have K-pop.
And what about the
Now we have
Jonas
drag
Brothers?
queens.
What about
Apparently,
the Jonas
the
Brothers?
Jonas Brothers are back.
Really?
The Jonas Brothers were before Justin Bieber,
Or
though.
One Direction.
One Direction was at the
Wow.
same time.
Okay.
That was like the last generation that was allowed.
Like-
And then Harry Styles became whatever Harry Styles is now.
And, well, yeah.
The
he's-
abomination that
Yeah,
he is today.
And Justin Bieber's religious too. Like he's
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
At least like nominally Christian.
he
like,
goes to church on Sundays at his mega church.
I like his character arc.
Yeah.
we love Hillsong.
Yeah. He's
Well, what happened with him?
Homophobic.
Well, never mind.
he got married. He's married. You know, to what's her name,
Haley Baldwin.
And like you
Bieber.
know, he does his thing. I never hated a guy who just makes music and is perfectly inoffensive.
I love that he's extended family of Alec Baldwin now, and that's one awkward Thanksgiving.
Yep.
My dad's really good business friend lives on the same street as Justin Bieber
Oh,
in Calabasas.
interesting.
They all live in Calabasas
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Rich people land.
Right.
So some of the we've got people in the chat who are talking about their own personal things that they might like in private but not admit in public. R. Fontanez says Taylor Swift. Understandable. She is like
Definitely, yeah.
see like I'm gonna have to pretend I don't like her movie when she directs a movie.
Now they're calling her a director before she's even directed a film, and it infuriates me.
Well, you could call that 10-minute music video a film.
It's not,
It's more a
though.
film than a song.
Yeah, it's
Waffle
but it's a music
Sensei
video.
says Green Day.
Oh, I hate Green Day.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
John Norton says Whoopi Goldberg on Star Trek Next Generation.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like I wonder how Tim feels about that. Like if Tim's like has to wrestle with that one at all. Who says Rhaegar Targaryen says movies, just movies in general.
I mean, that's the thing. It's literally the default for anyone who isn't
Yep.
a mentally ill person on Twitter. Like you're watching and reading things made by people who actively despise you.
Yep, they're talking about Hillsong now. Says we got a couple more. People are talking about Hillsong.
Homophobic legends at Hillsong.
Mighty Rack says, Mary, you're just a contrarian. I thought I was the contrarian.
You're
in this.
definitely still the contrarian.
I am the contrarian here. I am contrarian. I am Conan the contrarian. That was me. Says I was on the bandwagon hating Leonardo DiCaprio when Titanic came out, and then turns out he was a good actor. It took like 10 years for me to stop hating him. Says Keenan Smith. Yeah, isn't it weird how there's just certain things in culture you just have to, like Nickelback. You're forced to hate Nickelback.
Okay.
Or Creed.
I don't hate Nickelback.
Okay, so intelligence is knowing Nickelback has some catchy songs. Wisdom is knowing they have some really trashy songs. The lyrics suck.
Okay, like
So
but I'm
I
guessing, like,
dug into this about why
I'm intrigued.
people
Go ahead.
hate Nickelback. It's because their lead singer's like antics, pretty much. Like he was
I don't
essentially
What did he
uh,
do?
just, I don't know, just the way that he acted. I guess he was just a douche, I guess.
Since
Like,
when is
publicly.
that for a reason for people to hate someone in Hollywood? That's
All I
But
do
nobody
know-
knows that Nickelback's vocalist is a douchebag. They just know that you're supposed to hate Nickelback.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It became a meme.
I don't know any of their songs other
The
than
guy's
all I know
voice
is that
is-
you're supposed to hate them.
Well, his voice is so
Photograph.
strong.
I
He
know
can
that- I
break
know
a
that's-
microphone.
Look at I
Like,
love
he's
the
really
edit
good.
where he holds up a graph and he's like,
Yeah.
"Look at this graph."
I mean that was kind of early days of meme culture. Was all
Yeah.
of the photograph memes like
Yeah.
it says and like there's the one where it's like him looking at a photograph of him holding the photograph and it becomes like photographception. Yeah, so they're going on like, but I'm saying like you can't like Creed. You can't like Nickelback.
Creed slapped.
Like like I said, I've never
No,
listened
no.
to any of those songs, but I'm sure much younger, less secure Brett would have joined in hating on them, even though I'd have been like, yeah, even though I'd never heard their music. But since everyone else was saying something about it, I would have said something about it too, even though I just know that society says you're supposed to hate it. And I mean, the same thing holds true with a lot of like, you're not allowed to like Batman vs Superman or certain comic book movies or things like that. You're just told this was bad. Society says it's bad, therefore it's bad.
Green Lantern.
Yeah, oh yeah,
I like the movie.
The Green or Green Hornet. Nobody liked
remember liking that too.
Like there's just certain things you're not allowed to like, and then a lot of times they come back later and they develop like a cultural, like a cult fan base or a cult following. But it's like, isn't that interesting? Like even in this sphere where we're supposed to be the open-minded people. We're supposed to be the ones where like you should be more.
I won't claim that title myself.
Let me rephrase. You should be more willing to understand why somebody else likes something when you're constantly forced to be the ones that have to consume media from people that hate you.
Mm-hmm.
It should lend you more perspective than the average person who just consumes media and agrees with everything that the person who makes that media is saying. It should make us more understanding. But it
There are a
doesn't
lot of
always work.
things I think you're not allowed to dislike these days.
Like what? Marvel?
Like, or even just feel indifferent about. Like, I feel indifferent about The Matrix. I
Really?
didn't like
What do
it
you
all
mean?
that much. And then people just act so aghast about that. Like, it's a freaking movie at the end of the day. Like, it's just not that serious. Like,
the one
with
that
the
came with
James
the DVD
Gunn
player.
stuff, people are tweeting things that make it seem like James Gunn ran over their grandmother. Like, That you
What was the
stabbed
one-
us in the back and and destroyed what we loved right before our very eyes.
Look.
Just when we got our hopes up. Like, it's a movie franchise. It's a comic book franchise. It's not your life.
And look,
You need to relax.
it does seem a little bit like weird that we would be saying that, considering we host a show about pop culture, movies, television.
We talk
all of
about
this
it
stuff.
literally every day.
And we talk about it, but it's like a little bit of perspective for yourself goes a long way in like making your like life's just going to be long. If you
Life
look
is
at-
long if you hate James Gunn all the way through it.
That's a Chris Rock skit. He goes, life. He's like, people tell you life is short. Life ain't short. Life is long. Especially if you make the wrong decisions. But that's about cheating on his wife. That's, yes. Yeah, The Matrix is one of them. That's a good example.
Yeah.
But yeah, like,
Also, like, there are certain factions of, like, art house film lovers that if you dislike any of the films they like, then
Even when
you
we-
have no taste, obviously.
even like when we didn't, like when like we grew to hate Rings of Power, like our hatred grew like a fire.
If we weren't angry at it from the get-go, then we're
bad.
We're bad.
Rather than,
Like,
yeah.
like, we gave it a chance so that other people wouldn't have to give it a chance, actually.
So there's a couple more here. So I
We
think
have some super chats to read,
But
though.
Yesh said Limp Bizkit. You're not allowed to like.
I mean, I never
Thoughts?
really liked.
Feelings?
They were on like what, Now 3 or Now 4. That's all I heard of them.
Is that how you judge music? By which now that's what I call music it was on?
That's how I judged Limp
Holy
Bizkit, because they only had one good song.
Holy crap.
I do remember the early nows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or jock jams.
What are you talking
Jock
about?
Jam.
No, nobody,
I think we just age ourselves.
nobody here played sports. Did you play sports?
played sports.
Okay, jock jams.
I don't know what that is.
Oh my gosh.
What sports did you play?
I'm wasted. Hockey and baseball.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. We got some super chats?
Yes.
Okay.
Tacti Platty said, "Stop eating avocado to fight climate change."
That's that makes perfect sense.
We need to go to the super chat.
Oh, are we not at super
Sorry.
chats? Yet? Read that
No.
one once again, Mary.
Stop eating avocado to fight climate change.
Ah, wait, read that once again. I didn't.
Why
I
are
put-
you freaking out?
I put it on. I put it back on the old screen. I put it
Okay.
back. One more time.
Please relax. Tacti Platty said, "Stop eating avocado to fight climate change."
Fun fact: nobody in the history of the world has ever relaxed when somebody said, "Please relax." It's actually a proven fact.
Bad App said, "I went to Universal yesterday and Santa was black."
Well, you know what? That's doesn't listen. That doesn't bother me.
He also said, "Krampus is black and he's awesome."
Can you say something else too?
People love Krampus.
I didn't see anything else from
it's
Bad
coming.
App. Tacti Platty said, "I have the receipts. Big avocado causes climate change."
Them and Cole.
Unironically, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yep.
Bobcat said, "Okay, everyone, what's the worst thing you've had in the background during a video chat?
I don't get the. I don't video chat ever.
Like over a Zoom meeting or
I
something?"
I don't do Zoom meetings.
Oh man,
I've been on very few.
I was just thinking about this today actually, but it wasn't really in the background.
What was it?
So I was at a coding boot camp once, and it was like we were doing like a remote viewing or whatever, and I didn't realize it was video chat. So I had got that charcoal stuff that you put on your face
Oh,
to
no.
like cleanse
Oh,
it, you
jeez.
know? So I
Oh,
put it
no,
on,
no, no.
and then I turned it on. This was 2018, I think, and it looked like I had blackface on. But
Did
I
anyone
didn't.
say
No,
anything?
No one said anything.
Oh
this
my
is
God.
before
I
that was
would've-
such a huge deal.
I would have paid
guess.
money if that had happened now, just to be able to capture the reactions of the people watching it. Like bold,
Sure hope it
Bold.
doesn't exist anywhere.
bold. Move.
I had like these Trump little figurines on my bookshelf behind me. Or besides that, it's honestly just like music stuff, like band stuff people hate.
Right.
That I'm.
Like what?
So I really like Kiss. I'm kind of autistic when it comes to it.
Okay.
So, but you know, a lot of people have opinions about them. They're you know kind of a gimmicky band.
Gene Simmons is kind of a dork on Twitter.
Yes, he is.
He's a real annoying dude on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, I remember during the pandemic, he was really annoying.
Yeah, there was like a meme going around for, you know, people saying, "Oh, Gene's kind of a a-hole," and then people that have been Kiss fans forever, they're like,
First time?
Yeah, we know. Yeah, first time, yeah.
Oh, also, or think like what happened just recently with Vic Mignogna on like Chrissy Mayer's stream where he didn't have pants on. Like that's a thing. People just
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like
no, Bad App said, "What's worse on Zoom, Harry Potter or Jeff Tubin?"
but just think, like, is there something about like you log into Zoom and you just have a desire to take your pants off and just wear a shirt? Like that's a thing for people. Like they just like it's like, is it really cost you anything? Put some sweatpants on. Like, put some basketball shorts.
Yeah.
Loose, elastic band. You don't need to be in your underwear on a Zoom meeting. That's a fun fact. From your lips to God's ears, you do not need to be naked on Zoom meetings.
What if during Pop Culture Crisis we just like wear underwear because none of you guys can see whether we're wearing pants or
I'm
not?
saying,
Like that would be really weird.
It would be well, yeah.
It's weird because I'm scared to walk in front of cameras. Like, I'm always thinking something's recording me.
That part.
Right?
Yes,
So
100%.
I feel like if people are going pantsless on Zoom, they're doing it on purpose because if they like thinking like, oh, I'm sliding one past these people on Zoom. No one knows I'm naked.
Which, let's face it, that's just really dorky and just proves to you how easy we have it in the West, where that's like the thrill for your day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Go see Avatar 2. You don't need to be naked on Zoom meetings. Waffle Sensei said, the right used to protect their children from Harry Potter books for witchcraft, and now the left protects their children from Harry Potter books for anti-trans reasons. LOL, both are religious.
Yeah, like I said, I wish I could be back to dunking on Christian moralists and Tipper Gore wannabes and the black and death metal, and I wish death metal was Satan again so that I could push back on that. Like every time.
Well, you're the reason that we got to this point. How does it feel?
Yes, I am the slippery slope. That is me.
How does it feel?
It feels great. I'm happy to degrade the culture to the point of nothingness anymore.
Tacti Platty said, I hated Ben Affleck until Argo.
Yeah. I also like The Town.
Oh, tremendous.
Yes.
Oh, I love that
Underrated.
movie. Yeah.
Underrated.
Yeah.
Like, there's actually a great line in the show Graceland where the character of Jake's, he's like, he's very standoffish with all the other characters. And like, they're all like, it's the end of the night. One night he goes, like everyone's crashing out. And one of the things that show did well is it captured like how people actually talk to each other when they're like in close proximity. And he has this thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to bed. I'm going to go watch The Town again. Because he seems like a character who would like watch the same movie over and over again. And if there's a movie to watch over and over again,
it's The Town.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's and old now too. Like,
Dude, it came out when I was like a senior, I think.
Yeah,
Like,
so
that's
What is
crazy.
The Town?
It's like a crime, not a mobster movie, but like, you know those movies where they're criminals? Oh, the Italian Job. It's kind of like that. They commit the crimes, but they're the good guys in the movie.
Okay.
You know?
anti-heroes. of sorts.
Anti-heroes. There we go. Yeah.
Sopranos type thing.
Yeah.
It's,
but
I recommend it.
Yeah.
I don't know where you can find it now. It's a like movies like that are the reasons why you need to buy physical media, because like there's certain things that are just not culturally relevant enough where you're like, I know for sure this will end up on a streaming service somewhere.
yeah.
Right.
Dallas was just saying the other day that he's like, they just put Prisoners on Netflix for the first time. It was a Denis Villeneuve movie from like 2012 or something like that. One of his best works, and like just nobody saw it. Like just because it was like Roger Deakins was the cinematographer. It's like really, really good pre-Sicario, I believe. And Sicario is one of my favorite movies of all time. But you don't know where you're going to find those movies. Like you know exactly where you'll find all the Marvel movies, Disney Plus. You know where you'll find all the DC movies, HBO Max. But there's a lot of great stuff in between there that people miss out on. So.
Bad App said, Snapchat had a filter of the Nickelback photograph, and I made it look like Chad was holding up my dick pic.
I didn't think you'd read that.
Incredible. Also, somebody, Dollclick says Tubi. Maybe it's on Tubi. I'm anti. Or Quibi. I'm anti-ad. I will not consume your ads. I will pay money to the streaming service so that I do not have to give your ad the time of day. In fact, I view that streaming service as my capitalist savior, saving me from your capitalism.
Ooh, what if there was a way you could pay to have ads not like, you know how people pay for ads to count? You could pay them away.
You pay and then I pay, and
like it's kind of like a way to like say, I don't like this company, I want to pay to have their ads removed.
I hate.
So they still
it's not even just the companies. It's like it interrupts the flow of what you're watching.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and the funny thing is now like they haven't really mastered the art of making content not for ad revenue. Meaning like a lot of it's too long now. We talk a lot about how all these shows are like an hour and 20, like these episodes go to an hour and 20 minutes long. They don't need to be that long, because what it is before is the episodes were never an hour. They were 42 minutes and 50 seconds because ads were in there. You just need to make it 50 minutes, but just not have the awkward places where ad breaks used to go. I don't need an hour and 10 minutes for every. Like, there's a really great meme. It's like, you need to watch this show. Yeah, the first 5 seasons suck, but once you get into season 6, the first 4 episodes are great. Yeah, the middle's kind of awful, and all the episodes are 5 hours long. Like, that's the world we live in.
Yeah,
now.
but I like hearing the first 2 or 3 seasons are great. Then
Yeah.
it gets awful.
Yeah.
Then I'll watch it.
Look, hey, and I'm not a completist. I'm not a completionist. I will watch a show for the first 5 seasons and then just stop. Like, I can appreciate it for, like, I don't need to know how it ends. Like, if you give me great, especially if you actually finish your seasons properly, theoretically, you're getting good endings throughout the show. I don't need it to be one story that has a great ending because they rarely lace the ending anyways.
That's how I was with The Handmaid's Tale.
Really?
My wife was forcing me to sit. I
And you're
don't mean
just-
forcing. We were watching it.
know, it
I
was-
watched it.
like
Happy
2
wife,
seasons in, and I'm
happy.
just like, I'm done, dude. I'm out.
I kind of liked it.
Really?
I thought it was a good
Oh,
show.
jeez.
I mean, I didn't like the message or anything.
Yeah.
I just finished the first season of Westworld and watched the first episode of the second season, and I immediately dropped off because it was so bad. It's not woke. Like, it wasn't woke. It was just like, at most, it was weirdly anti-rich. Like, it was like the rich and anti-human at the same time, which is in itself sort of a kind of wokeness. And basically, they just showed all of the synthetic people, like, killing all of the protagonists that you were familiar with in the first season, and then you're supposed to sympathize with them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. Potatoes for Shame has said, Brett, you my man, much love. Hi, Mary, and guests. Guests, plural. Rhaegar Targaryen said, the Dutch have a Christmas character named Black Pete.
That was Black Peter, right?
It says Pete.
You know what? I've heard about that.
And
What is that about?
I don't know.
Sinterklaas.
I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry. Who accompanies Sinterklaas? Don't tell Justin Trudeau.
Oh my god!
Super
I've heard
awkward.
About that.
Isn't that the one who like beat children?
Yeah, it was a
Really?
negative character.
Oh my
It's coming
gosh.
back to me now. Actually.
I only remember that there was like this Dutch tradition where
on, I
like
gotta
they leave
Google
their shoes out instead of
yes.
their stockings.
Yeah.
Suppressed in my mind.
Yeah.
That's a trope in a lot of like a lot of like network television shows. Like, there's always got to be the one character that reminds you that Jesus wasn't born in December, and that Sinterklaas in Black Peter, and that the tradition's based around basically violence against children, because there always has to be like some just wet rag goes to ruin everything for everyone.
Whatever happened to Christmas?
What? We used to be a country, Mary. We used to be a country.
I'm basically
The
Bill
war on
O'Reilly.
Christmas is still going on. That's why we
It
need,
all started with those damn Starbucks cups.
it's their fault, guys. We got one more thing, guys. I really want to tell you about something. So if you remember earlier, I said that we were going to have a new presidential candidate, somebody that we can all get around. But before we get to that, I want to talk about why I believe this candidate matters. Now, do you guys remember in 2020, there was a very, very popular viral meme of the guy riding the longboard with the ocean spray bottle playing
And singing to Dreams
by Fleetwood Mac, right? Well, that gentleman, whose Nathan Apodaca, was arrested on possession charges recently, and that's a tragedy. This dude, like, he made a career out of it. Like, he did like a thing with Snoop Dogg. Like, he's built a brand off of this. And they're just like, how can you hate a guy that happy? And
So
just
he
like,
was driving around with an expired registration, been there. He got pulled over. They saw edibles in his glove box.
how do they know they're edibles?
I don't know, man. And then he got out of his car and they found drug paraphernalia and weed edibles in there. So he got arrested on 2 misdemeanors.
Do you guys remember this? Do you guys remember this trip?
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's a funny story. So during COVID, I was skating my local high school a lot because it was empty. There's nobody there. So a place that you normally could only skate on the weekends, you can skate anytime. And the same was true with a lot of other businesses. But while this was going on, I kid you not, there was ocean spray bottles just littered across the parking lot on multiple days. Like, people were there, like, just dorky. People were trying to make their own version of this, and it's like, oh no, I'm out. We need to make a new one. Like, maybe you should have just brought like red liquid and refilled the same one. I mean, yeah, it was a suburb. They probably had money. I don't know, but like the point is like, there, you can just picture the people doing this. But it was a weird little viral cultural moment in time. Everyone could get this was like imagine it was like the duality of man was like this and Tiger King were going on at the same time. And it's like pick your social cues from one of these people. Are you the Tiger King or are you?
I kind of miss it.
It was a good time.
Like I can't get on TikTok again. There's nothing that will be like it.
No, well, I mean, it might happen again. You never know. So he was arrested. He was released on $600 bond. But here's why it's important. Because now Afroman is running for president. If anybody remembers Afroman, the song Because I Got High.
Oh.
Yes.
He is from my
Why
hometown.
do
Shout
you
out to
guys
Palmdale,
recognize
California.
this?
It's Colt 45 2 zigzags.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we all know that.
So he got recently busted where they raided his house thinking that they were going to find like Oxycontin and heroin. And of course they didn't because his name is Afroman and he smokes weed. Well, he's suing the police department if I remember correctly, but he's running for president in 2024, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm in.
He is
2020 fro. Is what he said.
Oh, there we go.
And he's running on the platform of
That wasn't
recreational weed for all.
I don't understand why you guys all recognize this guy. Like
It
I've
was
never heard of
You
him.
had to have been
one
around back
summer
then.
I have
thing.
never heard of
Yeah,
this
it was
man in
like
my
a.
life.
Ladies and gentlemen, we used to be
I didn't know him by
country.
name either.
Look,
I
like
didn't know
the
his name
best
was
thing would be
Afroman.
is if he won but didn't show up to the inauguration because he was super stoned. Let's go.
Did you watch Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back in the day, like the 2001? Okay, so he had Because I Got High was at like the ending credits. I think it was in the middle of the movie too.
Okay.
But he also had another song called Palmdale. It was about my hometown, and he's like rapping about all these B1 liquor or B2. I'm like, dude, I used to go there. That's amazing. Yeah, it was awesome.
I'm
Dude.
glad this hits home for you.
Oh, it hits home.
we need him, and like the only thing that could have been more weirdly like culturally relevant would be if like the dude who sang the thong song ran for president.
Cisco. Yeah.
If Cisco ran for president, that would be weird
I wouldn't
and
vote
very
for any of
90s,
these people.
early 2000s too.
Are you anti-recreational marijuana?
No, I just want Trump to win.
No.
See, they're splitting the ticket.
We're gonna split the vote here.
This is
guys.
way too
You
much.
can vote for Trump all you want. I'm voting for Afroman.
Afroman.
I'm throwing my endorsement behind him
Yep.
for 2024.
I have to, out of respect.
So you're voting
Only
left.
if you only say 2020 fro.
2020
That's the
fro.
rule.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So he says, when you see the video, it might seem like a joke, but we're told he's dead serious, and the crowd loved it, cheering Afroman on as he touted his first big policy, of course, the national legalization of weed. He reiterated that his platform in another video, emphasizing that it is no prank. The dude's got Oval Office aspirations.
Play the video.
Well, okay, but remember, there is a strong evidence that says like prescription drug use goes down when recreational weed use goes up. So I'm not endorsing. I'm just saying that that's what the experts are telling me.
I'm anti, by the way.
Yes, what's going on? It's the Hungry Hustler, American Dream, Afroman, and I'm running for president 2020 fro. I'm gonna get
He does have the drip.
recreational cannabis
You have to
legal
give
in
him
all
that.
states. I need your vote. Bakak.
Who is his drip provider?
I love this guy.
Are you kidding me? I need that shirt, the American flag weed.
Yeah.
Like, look at this picture.
Oh.
This
Dressed
guy,
better
dude.
than Jordan Peterson.
Wait, so you're anti marijuana legalization?
Yeah,
Why?
I'm just against it.
Why?
I mean, I'm not really going to get into it on a podcast about
Okay.
pop culture.
All right.
But
I was just curious.
that's just my opinion.
No, I get it.
His social media feed is riveting.
Is
okay? It is absolutely.
Like,
Do you already follow him?
I know I did at one point. I might have unfollowed just because it got a little too much.
Okay,
kinda
not
like-
a real fan.
like
No, I think it was around, like,
T-Pain-
2020.
Like T-Pain apparently has like a lit Twitch.
Oh no way! Really?
Yeah, apparently, like, or he did at one
Wow.
point. Like he was really big on Twitch for a while.
Yeah.
That's always interesting when like celebrities like Jack Black like get on social media platforms.
They don't
and
need
seem
to be.
more accessible.
Yeah, well, that's what's funny. The ones that actually do it well because they don't need to be. They're part of the establishment.
Yeah.
They
Jack
don't need
Black's
to.
a lot more talented than I thought.
Well, yeah.
Some at Blue.
Tenacious D. Hell
Tenacious
yeah.
D,
I thought it was just a joke, but it's not.
dude.
Who
it's
said entertainers don't care about education? School of Rock.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, I love
Right.
that movie.
Exactly. All right, we got one more super chat. By the way, yes, Afroman 2024.
Bullet Shepherd said, "Death black metal is one of the few genres that keeps PC out. Some new soy bands try to bring it in, but don't last like the OGs."
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like, they just wait you out. they just wait you out, and then eventually people get old and die off, and
Yeah.
and the culture gets taken over. That's almost worse to see that like happen with music, because it's like you want to hold on to what it used to be, but music is kind of it's cyclical, and new people come in all the time, and you see whole genres kind of get. I know that Eric July has talked about that. What happened with hardcore?
It's PCs all get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, I would argue that if no, I'm gonna save that. I was just gonna make my argument for weed, but I'm gonna stay away from it. It's not relevant. But
Yeah, I didn't mean to bring that up.
so I guess Afroman 2024. I wonder if any other celebrities will do like because it's obviously a ploy. He's not going to win. We know he's not going to win. We can hope.
Well, he's
don't
not
know
even
that.
going to file as a candidate.
no, but it's a marketing.
There's no
ploy.
evidence that he has.
Who would be a funny person to see run for president?
I don't know. It started out as funny, and then Kanye went the direction that Kanye went, and it's not as fun anymore to talk about it. To talk about celebrity presidential bids. It's getting a little bit personal.
Have you read the thing that Shane wrote?
Yeah.
It's actually really interesting. And I'm not saying he's...
Hear him out, guys.
Hear him out. I'm not
Hey,
saying,
yeah.
hey, look, I'm the residential Jew, okay?
The case for Kanye 2024.
The case for Kanye. That was a perfect title, by the way. It's not necessarily swaying my vote, but I give props to Shane, and like he's definitely shining a light on like, okay, what's actually going on.
I will say I went back and watched all 3-something hours of the interview on Alex Jones's podcast just
God
because I
bless you.
wanted to know what he said, and he had some takes that were like not all incredibly ridiculous, but I mean he still said a few things that could have done without.
If Alex Jones is telling you to chill and saying let's
Yeah,
go commercial, maybe reevaluate.
Like I understood what he was attempting to do, but it doesn't work like that.
I never thought I'd see the day Alex Jones is the voice of reason.
Right.
Yeah, well, there's a first for everything, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming today. That was a lot of fun.
I had a great time.
Carter,
Thanks for
let
having me.
everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Carter Banks. You can find me at Instagram at Carter Banks 4L until I somehow acquire Carter Banks.
Still
or your
working on
local
that?
Starbucks, possibly.
Or your local Starbucks. I wrote some new Christmas jingles for Chicken City, so if you go to the Chicken City live stream and you make a party happen, there should be a Christmas party thing.
That's
so
cute.
You can also find me on YouTube.
Any other music updates?
We do have some updates, and they're coming soon.
Okay, well, okay. An
After
update
the
to
holidays.
update.
Not now.
No. All right.
Right.
Let everyone know where they can find you, man.
You can find me Instagram and Twitter at manofbert. Shout out to Timcast News. Go to timcast.com, click the read tab. You can read all of our articles. We just did an exclusive interview with Gays Against Groomers. Shout out to Jamie Mitchell for talking to me. Go check it out.
Excellent.
Cool.
All right, Mary.
You can find pictures of me on Instagram at Mary Archived, and you can also read my inane thoughts on Twitter at Mary Archived. I don't have a blue check like some people do, but
$8.
I think I'm equal in dignity, so go follow me there if you agree.
Perfect. No blue check though. Wait, you can pay for it though now, right?
You can pay for it. You can keep the grift going, Mary.
I'm not sure I'm at that point yet.
So
I'm
it's
gonna wait
basically-
until they're company mandated.
So it's basically like pay to win on video games.
Exactly. I love it.
I bought it.
It's great.
All right, guys. If you
instant.
want to follow me, you
Instant.
can follow me on Instagram, not blue check, and definitely not on Twitter. But I am on Instagram at Brett Dasovic for the show. We are here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. We will not have a show Thursday or Friday this week. It is the holidays. We are Mary will be traveling. We got family. We got stuff to do. I'll be taking care of Bocus.
Yeah.
Who is we're giving him his medicine.
King Bogus.
Brett's
King-
doing a great job, by the way.
We're keeping giving him his medicine each and every day, trying to keep Bocus as healthy as we can. He's an adorable kitty who likes to wake me up at any point when he can to ask for more food that he then sometimes eats and sometimes doesn't. But we love you, Bocus. So yes, we will not have live shows Thursday and Friday. But otherwise, if you want to listen to us, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And also, before you go, could you like this video? Leave comments on this video. You know, if you agreed on any of our takes. Do you want Afroman as president? Do you not? Let us know in the comment section. Leave comments. Subscribe to the channel. It helps us in the algorithm. Thank you very much. We are also on social media. Twitter at popculture_show. We are on Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Later.